So yeah.
With over 17 seasons, 252 episodes, and approximately 75 hours total, plus books, shorts, a play, and tons of extra media, Ninjago is a giant franchise with immense world building, complex stories, and time-traveling paradoxes.
What if I
And
don't want to be a
today,
spinjitsu
I am
master?
going to go over all of it.
What if I
going
just
in
want to kill people?
complete chronological order. The story begins in a time period before the time period known as long before time had a name. Out of the blue, 7 source dragons came into existence. A source dragon is basically a god. They each represent
Kingdom
essentially
Hearts
a
lore.
concept, and the 7 of them hold the entire world together. Without them, the world could be destroyed.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, if we want to catch a Kingdom Hearts lore video, that'll be 3 hours and 25 minutes of my life I'll never get back. And this guy goes in chronological order. So he goes Recontext, Heart, Reunite, Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, Repurpose, 350 and a half days, Birth by Sleep, Extra Notes, Coded, Reawakened, Dream Drop Distance, Birth by Sleep. Yeah.
This is what they look like, just symbols, but are able to take on mortal forms, which usually is a dragon. The source dragons are also responsible for the creation of elemental powers. Elemental powers allow the user to control their specific element. The users are called elemental masters, and
Really?
they are sort of responsible for keeping evil away. However, the powers can be used for evil. There's not exactly a handbook for what you are and aren't allowed to do with them. Something the masters also do is reach their true potential, where they overcome certain emotional barriers and are able to use their powers, but like times 100. They aren't always too clear on the periods of time between events, so sometime after the Source Dragon's creation, the first realm was created. Now we move into the time period that is referred to as long before time had a name.
Do you think they just came up with long before time had a name because they couldn't think of anything?
This realm was called the Realm of Oni and Dragons. In this land, there lived 2 species. Any guesses? Oni and dragons.
No way.
The Oni are the bad guys, demons, shapeshifters, ultra-powerful manifestations of evil. And the dragons, they are dragons. And they have elemental powers. And they are the good guys. The mother of all dragons is known as the Firstborn. At some point, a vicious war broke out between the 2 species and would wage on for centuries. After those first couple hundreds of years, an Oni-dragon mix was born. So that implies that during the war, an Oni and a dragon had something going on.
Let's be realistic here. During wartime, you really think the enemy was fucking the enemy willingly? I've played a lot of World of Warcraft. I know what happens.
And out popped the first spinjitsu master. He wasn't given a name, so that's what history refers to him as. He appears as a typical human, but I think that's the form he chose. I'm not sure. He's not a human. This guy might literally be the most important character in this whole franchise. He did a lot.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Fuming. We're in an age and era now where, like, all the bad guys ever made for on-screen appearances or any comics, they all have a purpose for why they're like that. Back then, it was just like, I'm evil. It wasn't like that for everyone, but it was very it was very just, I'm evil. There's no reason I'm evil, but I'm just evil.
Lot in his centuries of life. The first spinjitsu master and Firstborn created a relationship and became very trusting of one another. Together, they created dragon armor and the dragon blade, forged with Firstborn's breath and the first spinjitsu master's metal. The first spinjitsu master wore this armor and attempted to stop the devastating war. The armor didn't actually do anything, but legends would eventually develop that the armor would be able to control the Firstborn. The first spinjitsu master also created a little handy-dandy trinket called the Realm Crystal. This Realm Crystal gave the user the ability to travel between realms, something the dragons could also do. Sometime after the creation of the first realm, a whopping 16 more would be created. Somehow. They're a little vague with that.
Somehow.
The first spinjitsu master wasn't the only one creating stuff. The Oni warlords created 3 masks. The Mask of Vengeance, the Mask of Deception, and the Mask of Hatred. They gave special powers to the wearer. After the first spinjitsu master unsuccessfully made peace with the Oni and dragons, he left his armor behind and traveled to Ninjago, a realm full of water and... nope, that's actually pretty much it. It's sort of unknown when this happens, but some of the Oni also fled the realm in pursuit of the first spinjitsu master. But they aren't quite important yet. Guess what the first spinjitzu master found here? More war. A giant serpent creature, known as Wojira, was unleashing hell on the inhabitants of Ninjago, which there weren't that many of. Wojira had the power of 2 elements, wind and water. Her power came from 2 amulets that were fastened to her head. The people she was wreaking havoc on were a species of sea creatures. They were called Merlopians. Then there was also a species of creatures on an island. Not much to say about them other than that they're purple. The first spinjitzu master, with the help of the Merlopians and the islanders, tried to defeat Wojira, but nearly lost. That is, until Naiad, a Merlopian and the first elemental master of water, merged with the ocean and ripped off the amulets. Now with her power gone, she fell into a deep slumber and would sleep for 1,000 years. She would be placed in her own temple, fittingly called the Temple of Wojira, which was located in the Tartarus Trench, the deepest point in the Endless Sea. However, since Naiad merged with the ocean, it was a permanent sacrifice, thus technically not dying, but for all intents and purposes, yeah, she died. The first spinjitzu master took one of the amulets, called the Storm Amulet, and gave it to the islanders. They were sworn to protect it, and thus were given the name the Keepers. And then the first spinjitzu master gave the Wave Amulet to the Merlopians. Both tribes were sworn to protect them forever. The first spinjitzu master would then travel to one of the few existing places in Ninjago, called the Golden Peaks. There he would nab up some gold and head over to the Temple of Light, the only other location existing before his arrival. It is in this temple...
You guys writing this down? It's going to be a pop quiz at the end. You better write it down. But I see some noteds.
The first spinjitzu master would forge 4 weapons, known as the 4 golden weapons of spinjitzu: the sword of fire, the nunchucks of lightning, the scythe of quakes, and the shurikens of ice. The first spinjitzu master used the weapons to create the island of Ninjago, a giant and beautiful island. Remember those Oni
I remember those.
The first spinjitzu master? Yeah.
From
those
last
freaky
time.
dudes
Yeah,
settled
okay.
And made camp on the island, and created the Oni Temple. It's mostly unknown what happened to them after this, though. One of the Oni fell in love with the beauty of the island and decided to betray its fellow Oni. Being that Oni are shapeshifters, the Oni took on the form of a human woman and gave herself the name of Mistake. Those 3 Oni masks were also brought to Ninjago, somehow, and spread out. However, one of them, the Mask of Hatred, stayed in the Oni Temple. Now for a little break, I'm afraid it's time to talk about the many realms. Firstly, there was Ninjago, the underworld. I think this one is self-explanatory. Actually, it's not. You would think it's their version of hell, and it is, but you don't go there when you die. I mean, you can, but you usually go to the departed realm. That's where you go when you die. So the underworld is just sort of like hell, but you can also go there when you die. But to add a layer of confusion, you don't always go to the departed realm after death. You can also go to the Cursed Realm, a place where cursed souls go. But you don't even have to die to go there, you can be banished there while alive. Also, that realm is more than a place. It is quite literally a creature, called the Preeminent. Sort of like the underworld, there is the Realm of Madness, also known as the Dark Realm. It is a place where evil thrives due to the imbalance there. Then there is the Wildness, sort of like forests and jungles for sentient creatures to live in. Somewhere in the wildness, there is a large floating island known as Chima. Yes, that Chima, which deserves its own 37-minute and 32-second breakdown. Good thing.
See, this is a whole other series. I don't even know what the fuck is this, dude. Oh my god, man. I feel like cartoons really started getting good with lore after I grew up. Cause like, dude, I grew up with Courage the Cowardly Dog, right? Fucking, and all the episodes never really like tied into each other. They were just kind of there. And fucking Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Check that one out after this video. There's the realm of the Cloud Kingdom, sort of the opposite of the realm of madness, where peace and tranquility prosper. The people that live there are monks and the writers of destiny. They aren't too unique with the names, but they write the events of the world and what happens, all with the power of their quills. However, sometimes events happen outside their writing, so they are proven to be sort of useless sometimes. 2 inhabitants to note in the Cloud Kingdom are Fenwick and his brother Quanish. Fenwick is the master writer, the writer of all writers.
Really?
And Quanish wasn't that. Another realm is the Never Realm, a snowy and dangerous...
Okay. He's saying never, right?
...place to enter because...
Because last time we did this, you guys were screaming nether.
It's hard to come back. More than humans live there. Humans and formlings live there. Formlings are humans that can also turn into animals. The next realm is called Ninjago. Not much is known about it, but it's home to the Jinn. Four-armed genies. These guys are pretty gnarly. There is the realm known as Imperium, which is mostly a desert. Technology in this realm is heavily advanced. However, it runs on dragon power, which the dragons contributed willingly at first. Not much is known about the next realm, that being Mysterium. Other than it being home to magical and mystical things, then there is the realm of Lee, and the only thing known about it is the name. And then there are four realms that are completely unknown. It's also important to mention that the Cursed Realm and Ninjago became sister realms, so they aren't connected, but they are. You understand, right? Now moving into a brief time period called the Stone Wars. Being that the first spinjitsu master is the physical embodiment of all good, it created an imbalance. There must always be a balance of good and evil, light and dark. So a new challenger approaches in the form of the Dark Lord, or more commonly known as the Overlord. He was there to bring war to the first spinjitsu master. The first spinjitsu master challenged the Overlord, and in response the Overlord created the Stone Army, impenetrable stone warriors, led by General Kozu, a four-armed, fun-loving, cuddly kind of guy, except the opposite. The Overlord also created the Temple of Fortitude, a place completely immune to the power of the golden weapons. So the first spinjitsu master just sorta gave up and was like, someone else can deal with this later. So the first spinjitsu master split his beautiful Ninjago into two separate islands. The Overlord's physical form—
Yo, I like the way the map looks. It's just two dragons. It's sick.
Jitsu Master split his beautiful Ninjago into two separate islands. The Overlord's physical form was destroyed, but his spirit remained on his half of Ninjago, which would become known as the Dark Island. His stone army, however, didn't die, just sort of became unsentient and froze. They were on the first spinjitsu master's side and would be locked away, and much, much later a city would be built on top of them. With no victor, it left the battle of good and evil undecided. A city called the City of Temples began hosting a game called the Tournament of Sources, a game celebrating the Source Dragons. The City of Temples doesn't have a location and isn't bound to a realm. It just sort of moves around from realm to realm. The game consisted of elemental masters competing for, well, mostly honor, I guess. Remember that Fenwick and Quanish from the Cloud Kingdom? So, Quanish believed that people across the realms deserve free will, and no one should be writing their destiny. Fenwick was like, sorry bucko, not how it works. He banished his own brother from the Cloud Kingdom and wiped his memory. However, since Quanish was still able to see the future, he still prophesied, but often left out the most important bits. He was also looked upon like a nut job because he claimed to see the future, but with no connection to the Cloud Kingdom, it made no sense. What?
And you guys just think I'm crazy because I'm old. This guy's old.
One day, the first spinjitsu master had a vision of the coalescence. The coalescence was where all realms would merge into one land chunk, which would be devastating and have irreversible effects. The first spinjitsu master sought out the source dragons for their help. The source dragons gave him energy, and with that energy, he created 3 dragon cores. However, with the power the cores held, the first spinjitsu master knew they would be a target of evildoers. He hid the 3 cores through the realms. He created the Temple of the Dragon Cores, which was guarded by a spirit. The spirit knew the location of the cores, but could not grant the information to anyone besides a descendant of the first spinjitsu master. Generations later, the first spinjitsu master decided, you know what, I'm horny, and he had kids. This
is a kid's show. You're right, he's so real for that.
His first son was named Garmadon.
Hey Jamil, guy made powerful artifacts, guy realizes artifacts can be used for evil and then hides them. Oh shit, dude, what? Instead of destroying these, I'll put them under the bed. Genius!
And inherited his father's Oni side and the power of destruction. His second son, named Wu, inherited the dragon side.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wu? As in Sensei Wu? I was told I had to kill that guy.
And the power of creation. The first spinjitsu master taught his children spinjitsu. I know I've already said it like 1,000 times this video, but I guess I need to explain what spinjitzu actually is. Created by the first spinjitzu master,
Yeah, dude,
is simply a
minutes in.
martial art form, and it looks like a tornado. It's super useful, and the ninja use it a lot.
No, Sensei
and
Wu,
Garmadon
not
learned it from a
Uwu.
very young age. This wasn't the only martial art the first spinjitzu master created, though. He created the Scrolls of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. It was so powerful, he kept it secret. In order to use it, you have to have the scroll in your
I don't
possession.
get it. I don't get it. It's so powerful, I ain't telling none of you about it.
So these Serpentine guys, it's probably time to explain them. The Serpentine is a species of snake people, but within the species, there are tribes. The Anacondrai, the most powerful and dangerous of the tribes.
So literally, these are literally just rip-off 40k orcs. Right? Do you guys see where the purple snakes are? That's right. Because they're the sneakiest because they're purple.
There are tribes. The Anacondrai, the most powerful and dangerous of the tribes, they had the ability to turn invisible. The Hypnobrai had hypnosis
Oh, my bad,
powers.
Morgan.
The
Sorry.
Fangpire had the power to turn anything, living or non-living, into snakes or...
Bro! Literally 40k orcs in snake form. Dude, like, it's not even funny.
or snake utilities,
That's
just like
great.
a vampire. There's the Venomari, with venom that gives the nausea effect from Minecraft. The Constricti, and their power is... constricting. So they didn't really get a power. The first leader of the Serpentine was a Hypnobrai with the name of King Mambo. Mambo and the first Spinjitzu master made a relatively weak peace pact. As a part of the mutual peace between humans and Serpentine, they weren't allowed to cross into each other's lands. Wu, who is supposed to be the goody two shoes, wanted to cross over. So him and Garmadon did, but were quickly caught and jailed. A young Hypnobrai girl named Asphira, who was in training to be a sorceress, came to their cell and offered to release them using one of her spells in exchange to learn spinjitzu. King Mambo was willing to be forgiving, but the boys took the deal. Garmadon had no intention of actually teaching her.
As in Lord Garmadon, right? Same guy? Okay.
But Wu came back and felt obligated.
Those are the only
he
two
taught
characters I know, is Sensei Wu and Lord Garmadon.
her spinjitzu. Unbeknownst to Wu, Asphira intended on overthrowing King Mambo's descendant, King Mambo V, which I feel like must be a reference to the song. Asphira was able to overthrow the king, but only for a very brief moment. Wu and Garmadon took the only two forbidden scrolls.
Guys, we're only 14 minutes in. Here, I'll move my camera.
And used their power to dethrone her. King Mambo V regained his throne, and Asphira was locked away in a tomb. She vowed revenge on Wu, who she would end up calling the treacherous deceiver. But she couldn't do much because she was locked away. The first Spinjitzu master took the two scrolls and hid them for good. Well, at least for a while. The Spinjitzu gang moved on top of a mountain to a place called the Monastery of Spinjitzu. Hey, remember that overlord freak? You know, total embodiment of evil and darkness? Yeah, him. He used his evil and corrupted a snake. One day, when the boys were goofing around, they fling a katana over the wall, and Garmadon has to go get it. When he reaches to grab it, that corrupt...
Guys, I may or may not have access to the Minecraft movie. We can probably do a movie night. I'm just saying.
Corrupted snake bites Garmadon and permanently vilifies his heart. The evil venom would permanently
Hold on, I gotta make sure my inside source, as known as Hot Dad, didn't send me a phony link. Hold on. Yeah, straight up, it's just a Minecraft movie. That's crazy.
Garmadon evil. However, the venom was slow-moving, so he only began to be corrupted. The first Spinjitzu master and Wu knew that one day he would be fully evil. That evil snake is also very important. Don't really know where he went after this, but it's not like he'll be a giant serpent in the likes of Wojira or anything. Nah, totally not. Also during this event, when the katana is thrown over the wall, a very old Sensei Wu was time-traveling with the elemental masters of time, Crux and Acronix, and they ended up there very briefly. probably best I don't go into that yet though. Remember how I said that elemental masters can also use their powers for evil? Introducing a group called the Forbidden Five. However, they aren't very forbidden yet. Led by Noct, the elemental master of brute force, and his sister Rox, the master of fear. And the three others are Zarkt, master of misfortune, Drix, master of swarm, and Kerr, master of decay. I promise 99% of the elements are much cooler than
Yeah,
these
you know,
ones.
Brute Force, the hit Xbox game that never really sold that well, so we never got a sequel.
These five created the Wolf Clan, who were their students, and invented a new martial art, Shatterspin. They also created their very own dojo, called the Shadow Dojo. An item they also created was the Gong of Shattering. When the gong was hit with the Mallet of Shattering, it empowered their warrior.
I wonder what if they didn't hit it with the Mallet of Shattering, and what if it was just a mallet? Nothing would happen, right?
Who wore wolf masks with
So
corrupted
stupid.
energy and drains the good from them. The five began meandering around, sort of just saying, alright, sure, let's conquer these guys. When they conquered the wildness, they brought in Raz. I'll get to him later. Introducing our saviors, Egalt and Rontu, two Dragon Master Ninja. That's right, Ninja Dragons. The fact we're already at Dragon Ninja, and
You take that back. You take that back.
only like 10% into the story is incredibly concerning. These two dragons developed a new spinjitsu technique called the Rising Dragon Technique. It was specifically designed to combat Shatterspin. The Dragon Masters knew the departed realm wouldn't be permanent enough for the five, so they traveled to the realm of Mysterium and sought out a high sorceress named Gandalaria. She put her heart and soul into this spell, making it her most powerful. She
So
didn't
would the
literally
Gong of
put her heart and
Shattering
soul
shatter
into
the
it, by
mallet?
way.
That is in the Mallet of
It's just a
Shattering?
phrase, but it sounds completely realistic for this world. The Dragon Masters defeated the five and used the spell, forever banishing them to an area called the Nether Space. The spell that banished them was so powerful though that it existed beyond its use and went on to become sentient, and under the advice from an older Wu, decided to take on a physical form, named Bonzel. Back over with the Spinjitzu boys, the first Spinjitzu master tasks the young lads to get a special tea plant that could cure Garmadon's evil descent. Succeeding in this task would also redeem them in their father's eyes, as he's still pretty ticked off from that Asphera stuff. On their journey, they run into Ninjago, a cat lady who once trained under their father. After she was falsely accused of stealing his katana, she left and trained on her own. She has her own moves now, called Cat Jitsu. In exchange for her knowledge, they agree to help her retrieve the Cat Eye Jewel, basically an immortality rock. Turns out Ninjago is a sorceress who vowed to become more powerful than the first Spinjitzu master after he wronged her, so she's a no-no. The Order of the Fearless, which, I mean, you don't really need to know who they are, and the boys put a halt to her shenanigans. The boys went on another adventure where they encountered Tanabrax, a puppeteer that meddles with dark magic. He got a medallion that once belonged to a djinn, and that led him down a dark path. He is able to turn people into puppets, and that's what he did with Wu. It didn't last long though, and Tanabrax was defeated, taking his medallion away, and was put into safekeeping. In the boys' formative years, they also fight the Sphinxes, and they get sucked into paintings, like at Super Mario 64. Jumping forward a bit, the first Spinjitzu master's time is coming to an end. He has picked a resting spot. He writes a message on his staff where his tomb will be, and then passes his staff down to Wu, but doesn't tell him that the message is written on it. All he says is that he will leave him a message where his tomb is. The first Spinjitzu master took the realm crystal and took it to his tomb with him to die with it. The spot he picked was heavily booby-trapped and at the bottom of the Endless Sea. The time before Garmadon completely turned to the dark side,
Bro, what a fucking badass. Guy's ready to die, so he picks the most booby-trapped area to die in. What a gamer.
him and Wu fought the king of the underworld. His name was Samukai, a warrior that disgraced himself in battle and was punished to the underworld. There he became king. The four-armed skeleton raised an army of skeletons, becoming known as the Skulkin Army. It's vague, but at some point Wu and Garmadon encountered Samukai and showed him who's boss. Samukai remained alive though. Well, not alive, but you know what I mean. Enter another new character, Sensei Korokuna Yang. Yang is your mostly average sensei, except for, you know, he created a new martial art, possibly better than Spinjitsu. He called it Air Jitsu. It's basically like Spinjitsu, but 10 feet in the air. Yang had many students whom he taught this martial art to. That wasn't good enough though. He had a deep desire for immortality, so he wouldn't be forgotten. He studied immortality and learned of an object called a
don't
yin
spoil
blade.
it.
After testing it out on trees, he decided to try it on himself. However, he cursed himself, his students, and his temple of Airjitsu. Now he had achieved immortality, but he was a ghost, forced to haunt his temple for the rest of time. He also wasn't forgotten by the public, but probably not in the
Hey,
light he
I see.
wanted.
What's up, buddy?
He went down as a notorious master who supposedly never had a pupil. More characters around this time: a dude named Nadakon, a four-armed, wish-granting djinn from the lands of Ninjago. He is actually the prince of Ninjago, and he's also a pirate. His ship's name is the Misfortune's Keep, and on said ship he had quite the cast of characters. His second-in-command is Flintlock, and
It's almost like... Oh my god. It's almost like airbending. That's crazy.
then there's Dogshank, Doubloon, Monkey Wretch, Clancy, and Dallara. The Misfortune's Keep would become the most feared ship in the Endless Sea. The entire crew has a history of wishes with Nadakon, but they are always trick wishes. For example, Monkey Wretch. He was once a human that wished to become the greatest mechanic ever. So he did. But he also made him a monkey. I don't know why, but Nadakon did it. I'll go more in depth with these scurvy swashbucklers later, but during this time period, they had a run-in with the only pirates that had a similar status of most feared, Captain Soto and his ship called the Destiny's Bounty.
You know
Soto
what?
battled
No. Fuck you.
Nadakon, but the power of a djinn is immense, especially compared to a regular human like Soto. Soto used the venom of a tiger widow spider, which stuns a djinn from teleporting around, and Soto was able to trap him in the teapot of Tyran. As for the others in the crew, Soto scattered them across the many realms. One of them, Dallara, Nadakon's honey schmuckums, died. I don't think Captain Soto didn't do that, but she died. After defeating Nadakon, Soto had a new mission: search for the Islands of Darkness, which is just a different name for the island the Overlord lives on. Instead of making it far at all, Captain Soto crashes their ship, leading to his and his crew's deaths. What an idiot. So those Serpentine fellas, they have an ancient prophecy called the Curse of the Golden Master. This says there will come a time when a Golden Master would obtain the same power as the first spinjitsu master and enslave every human and Serpentine. It was said that the Golden Master would either have significant golden power, which is the combination of both creation and destruction, and has the 4 golden weapons in their possession. No one believes their tinfoil hat theories, so they're like, oh yeah? We'll show you. Remember that little snake corrupted by the Overlord that bit Garmadon? That snake has a special ability that when it ate, it got bigger. Well, I mean,
No
humans
way.
have that too, but the snake was a little different. And it ended up growing to monstrous sizes with the similar height of a building. The Serpentine unleashed that snake, which became known as the Great Devourer. You know, I feel like they might have been just a tad extreme with that, but suffice to say, their scare attempt didn't work all that well, and instead just caused destruction. The people of Ninjago defeated the Great Devourer, which I'm surprised, but legend says it happened. And then the Great Devourer was sealed under the Serpentine City.
Yeah, they wrote it down somewhere it happened. It must have happened, right? It's just like the internet. You wouldn't lie, would you?
Of Ouroboros. But let's now hop over to another realm, the Never Realm. In the Formlings village, there is a dude named Vex. Vex ain't too nice of a guy. Unlike all other Formlings, he was never able to find his animal he could transform into. He alienated himself and believed that all other Formlings hated him for it. My guy has got issues. Either way, he says, screw you, and leaves the Formlings. Because of events that don't happen yet in Ninjago, but happen in the Never Realm, one of the ninja that doesn't even exist yet in Ninjago is teleported to the Never Realm. This is one of the most confusing things in the entire show. This is how they explain it. Quote, time works different in the Never Realm. End quote. So, you know what? I'm gonna explain it the exact same way. Time works different here. The ninja is the master of ice, Zane. Zane isn't a human, but instead a ninjroid, or a robot. He tries to repair his mech that was teleported there with him, but instead, Vex finds him in a cave and is able to wipe his memory, making Zane completely forget about his past and the fact that he's a ninja. Zane was teleported there with one of the scrolls of forbidden spinjitsu. Don't ask, it hasn't happened yet. But Vex sees the immense power it has and convinces Zane he is a fallen emperor and that they must reclaim his throne. The actual emperor, Grimfax, is swiftly overthrown and all his warriors are turned into Blizzard Samurai. Zane becomes the Ice Emperor and thus ensues a period known as the Long Winter. In the a long winter, Vex convinces Zane to completely freeze over his
I
former...
find it absolutely crazy that there's a cyborg spinjitsu master. I feel like we're barely scraping the surface of this fucking lore, dude.
village of formlings, freezing
Hey,
all but
Dina.
2 of them.
Dion,
Those 2
what's up,
were
buddy?
Akita and Kataru,
Tony lore?
sibling-
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Well, when I was like 7, I had a little small Christmas tree, and my dad took the star off the top of it, and I was playing with it, and it ripped my arm wide open. So I had to go get stitches when I was like 7 years old. Yeah, that's the only really thing that ever happened to me in my life. I'm gonna be real. I've lived a pretty boring life. I've been with a lot of different people. I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good. How you been? Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Can't complain.
Siblings that went out to find their animal form and came back to see their entire village got ice-aged. Zane also commits mass genocide on the Yeti, leaving
Year
only
3.
one on
doing
accident.
more?
And his name is Crag. From
You
this
got one more
point
year, or
on,
you
Zane
doing,
continues to rule for many
something
decades
specific that
against
requires
his
more?
will, under the manipulation of Vex. Back in Ninjago, with correct time, Garmadon begins training under a crime boss named Master Chen. He also trained with a dark magic user named Klaus. Garmadon and Klaus were set to battle one day to become Chen's
Hell
second
yeah, brother.
man.
Hell
Garmadon
yeah.
used spinjitsu against Klaus, even though Chen banned it. Chen still awards Garmadon
You need to be more careful. The worst thing I ever did was simply almost getting run over by a bus. Well, if it's like life-threatening, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I thought I was gonna lose my life. I've played it very carefully for 31 years.
on the title of Lord and the right-hand position, and says he did what he had to do to win.
Nothing
Chen
until
was
September.
a nasty man.
Woo!
He
Hell yeah,
intercepted
man.
a love letter from Wu that was meant for a nice young lady named Misako. Misako, sort of like both of the brothers, but under Chen's influence, he had Garmadon sign his name on the love letter instead of Wu, so it seemingly came from Garmadon. This very letter, and the eloquent words in it, would make Misako choose Garmadon over Wu. Since Garmadon is with Chen, Wu is all alone at his monastery. He takes up teaching, and one of his students, named Moro, shows off an elemental ability of wind. This leads Wu to believe Moro could be the fabled Green Ninja. It is time to hear another destiny. Green Ninja is the fabled Chosen One, said to be the strongest of all ninja, and would be the only one to defeat evil in the destined final battle. It is unknown who the ninja will be, but it can be tested by placing the 4 golden weapons around the suspected person
I've never
and
driven
see
drunk.
if they react and glow green.
I did once,
Wu
and
does
it was
this
like for a
very
couple
thing with
feet,
Moro,
never
however,
again.
they do not glow green. Moro blames Wu for him not being the Green Ninja. I guess Wu built it up just a tad too much. He abandons Wu and sets out to find the tomb of the first spinjitsu master. So those Serpentine folk, 5 tribes have been at each other's throats for centuries. Well, actually, hang on. Do they have throats? Are snakes one big throat? The 5 tribes have been warring until Chen comes along and unites them.
Are
Tensions were
snakes
high
just
between the
one
snakes and
big
humans.
throat?
Conflicts were beginning to break out. However, they were willing to make a truce. Even the Anacondrai, the fiercest and most stubborn, were willing to cooperate. Chen tricked the Serpentine and told them the humans had no intention of honoring the truce. So instead of being sitting ducks, they made the first attack. Thus, a snake versus human war breaks out, called the Serpentine War. Garmadon abandons Chen to fight alongside his brother. Wu and Garmadon would face the snakes alongside the Elemental Alliance. Various warriors also fought with them, including Magra. This guy flips sides because he wanted to be a king. Doesn't make all that much sense, but Garmadon defeats
Hell
him,
yeah,
and
man.
he
I'm
just
happy
goes
for
away
you.
for now. Despite the Elemental Masters
Wish I had
being
4 months
powerful,
to do nothing.
they were no match for the
I did. It
dangerous
was called COVID.
Anacondrai warriors, under the
Whoops.
control of General Arcturus and the other Anacondrai generals. On top of this, Chen was able to turn some of the elemental masters to defect and join the snake side using hypnosis from the Hypnobrai tribe, until they created some flutes that had horrible effects on the Serpentine. Well, they're not that horrible, but they couldn't bear the sound. So much for being fierce. With the newfound power from the flutes, they were able to win the war and lock the 5 tribes into 5 separate tombs across Ninjago. However, the worst of them all, the Anacondrai generals, including Arcturus, were banned to the Curse Realm by Garmadon. Chen and Klaus were then banned to an island for their betrayal of their own species. Wu and Garmadon and the Alliance can't catch a break. After winning the war, they were faced with a new threat. the Time Twins, Crux and Acronix.
Oh my
both
god, the
elemental
fucking
masters
course
of
they're called the
They
Time
decided
Twins.
that they should rule Ninjago. The brothers believed that time was the most powerful element, and because of that, they should rule. They betrayed all of the elements and began attacking them. Since they were literally battling
Probably
time...
for real, man. If I ran across some dudes called the Time Twins, I'd give up. Like, what if they go back in time and just kill me? Before, like, as a baby. Yeah, how do you beat time travelers?
Outlook was
That's a good
not
question.
great. Wu had Ray and Maya,
I don't
the
know.
masters of fire and water, and also blacksmiths, create 4
Yeah,
time...
what if you're winning the argument? They just rewind time. And they counter that winnable argument. There's never a time where you win.
blades
Excuse
with a
me.
material called chronosteel. Chronosteel is able to absorb elemental power. They quickly forged 4 of them, so when the brothers came to attack again, they used the blades, sucking their power into the blades. After this, there was a time blade for forwarding time, slowing time, pausing time, and reversing time. Wu and Garmadon then opened a temporal rift, like a giant portal in the sky, and disposed of the time blades via the portal. Crux
I
and
would
Acronix
too.
jumped into the
That's too
portal
much
after
power.
their power, and thus were lost to time. Both Crux and the reversal time blade were barely lost to time and landed not far from the monastery in the same time period. Crux went on his own way, while Ray and Maya found the reversal time blade. Wu instructed them to lock it away in the boiling sea. So this was one timeline. Now the other timeline has future Wu and his future ninja chase Crux and Acronix, trying to change the past. While it does happen here in this time period, I'll talk about it when it's happening for the character's present time. A nerd named Milton Dyer created a video game like the world has never seen before. An arcade game with a powerful AI. When he told the AI to give the first player an unforgettable
Lust.
adventure,
How
the
are you?
arcade
Hi,
machine
Angel. Sorry.
opened
How
up
are
and
you?
the player, Scott, walked in and never came out. Milton Dyer never finished the game and tried to rid the
We
world
are
of it. It's
catching
worked in
up on our Ninjago lore. We just got to the nerd, and now we're getting into the adventure game, part 1, apparently.
progress.
I know, my
name
bad, my
was
bad. I see.
Untitled Adventure.
Listen, listen. I'll be that guy. I'm a guy. All right. I see Lust Princess. You know, it is what it is.
Game 1, later officially titled Prime Empire, but even still it was locked away, becoming somewhat of a mysterious icon in the gaming industry. Milton Dyer then went away
See you
into
later,
hiding.
dude.
Wu's
Thanks
failed
for popping
student,
in.
Morrow traveled to the Caves of Despair. What a lovely sounding place. His search for the first spinjitsu master is proven
Hey, you
all
guys
but
wanna go
successful
smoke a
and dies
stogie
in it. His soul
in the
would then
Caves
be
of
banished to the
Despair?
Curse realm, because he wasn't all too nice.
Guys wanna go get high as
Jumping
fuck
over
in the
to
Cave of Despair?
Imperium realm, which I have barely even mentioned, Imperium, the capital city, is ruled by Levo, the elemental master of Shockwave, which I think is sort of boring. His firstborn daughter, Zeatrix, receives this power upon birth and becomes heir to the throne. Twin Beatrix, born just minutes after her, has some bitter feelings about this. This wolf guy heads to Imperium with a proposal for the Emperor. His name is Lord Raz. He has a master that is currently unknown, but he's been serving him since he was a young lad. Raz tells Levo his dragon energy powering the city is inevitably going to run out one day. Raz offers his service to help Imperium hunt a source dragon. Just putting this in Earth terms, this is sort of like hunting a god. Levo declines, but Beatrix conspires with Raz, and together they overthrow her father, rigging his hover chair to explode, making it look like an accident. Zeatrix is then thrown out of the city, leaving Beatrix to...
So, let me get this straight. In my Lego universe for kids, they faked an assassination attempt, or they framed an assassination attempt in a Lego show for kids. Oh boy. I feel like we're just scraping the surface.
to assume the role of Empress. In true dictator fashion, those who
I
opposed
feel like
her
we
were exiled.
are still
Beatrix and Raz
scraping
then
the
formed
surface.
the dragon hunting squad called the Claws of Imperium. Okay, so do you know this guy? Probably not. The elemental master of Earth, who unwillingly betrayed the Alliance in the Serpentine War.
So
He
he's
had
an
a daughter,
earthbender.
and her name was Lily. She assumes his power of Earth. She travels to this place called Shintaro Mountain. Inside of the mountain, there are two tribes, Geckles and Munts, and both were terrorized by a dragon called Griefbringer. Lily went there and killed Griefbringer with the Blades of Deliverance. The two tribes each got a blade. In the mountain, she also finds the Heart of the Mountain, a legendary temple for the Masters of Earth. Inside of the temple are the teachings of the spinjitsu burst, a special move that can only be achieved when the master is surrounded by their element. Lily tried to learn the burst but never did. Lily went on to birth out Cole, and he assumed her...
That's great. She... She couldn't learn how to spinjitsu burst, so she birthed out a... The way he worded that was hilarious. She birthed him out, yeah. She birthed him out, guys.
Powers of Earth. She died when he was very young, so Cole was unaware of his power. His father, Lou, was also no help.
That is the craziest. Clone Wars teaches about the horrors of war. Ninjago is teaching the complex landscape of political turmoil.
He was a part of a musical troupe called the Royal Blacksmiths.
Hi, Bells.
Around the time when the Time Twins were disposed of, the Master of Lightning went on a date with Cliff Gordon, the actor that would go on to play...
Oh, dude. Jesus. Okay. Alright. There's actors in this universe now? What are you gonna...
play Fritz Donegan, a very famous character in Ninjago. They eventually make the birds and the bees, resulting in a baby.
Bro, why is everyone fucking each other here? What is going on? I came to learn about Ninjago!
That baby would be known as Jay, the eventual Master of Lightning, but they dumped him. Womp womp. Jay was...
I'm sorry, can you repeat that line for me, sir?
dumped off in a junk, the eventual Master of Lightning, but they dumped him. Womp womp.
Oh my god. Dude, just like in real life. Prom night dumpster baby.
Jay was dumped off in a junkyard, and the owners, Ed and Edna, raised him. Ray and Maya, elemental masters of fire and water, would go on to produce Kai, and 2 years later, Nia. They would assume the roles of fire and water respectively. You know who else is having kids? Garmadon and Misako.
Aren't you supposed to be evil?
I feel bad for the both of them. Garmadon's extra 2 arms he eventually gets would have been nice that night. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Misako gives birth to Lloyd Garmadon. Poor Lloyd doesn't get to grow up with a daddy because Garmadon succumbs to the evil in his veins after his great devourer bite all those years ago. Garmadon heads to the monastery of ninjitsu to steal his father's 4 golden weapons so he can reshape Ninjago into his own image. Realizing the day has finally come, Wu battles his brother. It doesn't last long and a portal is opened to the underworld. The evil brother is zapped by lightning, blackening his skin, and gets banished to the underworld. Now in the underworld, he fights a previous foe, Samukai, king of the underworld. Like last time, Garmadon wins, takes his helmet, and becomes the new king of the underworld. Wu realizes the danger the golden weapons now pose if they were ever to fall in his brother's hands, so he hides them in various places. Each weapon is guarded by the dragon of the same element as the weapon. Wu created a map of the locations and gave it to his good friend Ray to hide in his blacksmith shop. As children, Kai and Nia invent a little game called Countershot, and as stupid as that sounds, it helps so much in the distant future. Around this time, Crux, the time twin that wasn't actually lost to time, shows up to Ray and Maya's forge, and threatens to hurt the children if they don't come with him. This leads to Kai and Nia believing they were abandoned and having barely any memories of their parents, and thus having no clue about their elemental powers or the hidden map. Moving over to the unnamed Master of Ice, I don't know why, but he's just like, I'm done with this ice stuff. It gets too cold. He goes to the Birchwood Forest, a prominent location of the Serpentine War. There he seeks out a man named Dr. Julian, a genius inventor that lives in a tree base. Many years ago, he created an android named Zane. That same Zane that became the Ice Emperor, but that hasn't happened yet, so, shush. The Master of Ice passes his powers on to Zane. Days later, Wu shows up and Dr. Julian is like, I don't know, he's acting different now. Wu tells him he will come back one day. Well, Wu didn't come back soon enough, and Dr. Julian is on his deathbed. Him and Zane have had some fantastic memories, but it's time for him to go. Julian flips off Zane's memory switch so he doesn't know he's an android, and can go on believing he's a human. And then, Dr. Julian dies. Haha, psych. Samukai, now general of the Skulkin army, does Garmadon's bidding and goes to Dr. Julian, revives him with a potion, and forces him to make vehicles and equipment for Garmadon's inevitable return. They hold a basically powered-down Zane as a ransom. Dr. Julian...
Bro, he just died. You can't let him be dead for a little bit? I would be pissed off, dude. I died and you brought me back.
Refuses and gets imprisoned in a lighthouse guarded by a Leviathan in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
he
he's
eventually
gotta work
complies,
in the
but is never
factories,
released from the lighthouse. Here's another character. His name is Vangelis. He is king of the Shintaro people. He invites 3 men to his lavish kingdom to search inside the mountain for the remains of an evil sorcerer named Hazadur, who died in the dungeons long ago. The 3 retrieve the bones, but Vangelis reveals his true self. They got the bones under the guise that they needed to be destroyed, but instead, Vangelis was aided by it because Hazadur is, like, still alive, I guess, but he's just a magical head. It turns Vangelis into the Skull Sorcerer when he wants to. To ensure his secret is kept, he casts the 3 men down in his pit that leads deep into the mountains.
It's crazy. These guys don't look anything like Legos. I don't know what's going on.
Sorcerer then steals the Blades of Deliverance from the Gekkel and Muntz tribes, blaming each side for stealing the others. With the division, he is able to enslave the tribes to mine a mineral within the mountain called Vengestone, another powerful substance that suppresses elemental powers, making them useless when in the presence of it. Knowing the Green Ninja prophecy, Misako knew her son would become the fabled warrior, somehow, and that her husband would be the foretold ultimate evil. She did quite literally the worst thing she could do and dump Lloyd off at a boarding school to try and figure out a way to prevent father and son from their inevitable battle. Master Wu, knowing of the impending danger, begins to recruit new students. He finds...
The only thing Lego does for the show is make it easier to sell to... So, like, hold on. Alright. So is Ninjago... Was Ninjago, like, an established thing before Lego? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Alright.
Finds Cole, scaling a mountain. This is Cole.
Hi,
He's
Cole.
a cool dude. Sorry to say, he sort of has a generic dude personality. He finds Jay, testing an invention. He's the comic relief, but also very smart with inventing. And he finds Zane, meditating under a frozen pond. He lacks humor and acts very non-human because, well, he is non-human, but no one knows that. Wu looks for his last student, heading to the blacksmith. He wants to recruit Kai. He is our protagonist, at least right now. He's a hothead, arrogant, and stubborn, all ideal traits for an honorable ninja. He declines Wu's offer, and so the sensei begins to walk away. Shortly after, Samukai and his Skulkin warriors invade the blacksmith in search of the map Kai has no knowledge
you're good,
of.
dude.
Kai
No
tries
big
to
deal.
fight them off, along with his sister Nia, who has moderate fighting skills, but are no match until Wu comes in and sweeps the floor with them. However, Samukai still gets away with the map, and Nia. This leads Kai to accepting Wu's offer to train so he can rescue his sister. Now before I go into the part where Kai goes back to the monastery, all 4 ninja, fully trained and experienced, time travel back to this point because Garmadon is time traveling here, and it's a whole thing. They completely changed the way the events went down, but made it have the same result. It actually didn't, but the creators pretend it did. I will get there when we actually get there. For now, I'll just continue the story negating the time travel. Kai goes back to the monastery thinking
Hey, they
he's
are the
the only
creators. They
ninja
can
in
do whatever they
training.
want.
He learns spinjitsu in the span of
my
just a
nose,
few
man.
days, which sort of feels like a
need to
Rey
grab me
from
a
Star
napkin.
Wars moment. But what can you do? I mean, they only build up this ancient, powerful martial art, and then, oh yeah, easy peasy, learned it in a couple days. The 4 ninja. Kai, Master of Fire. Jay, Master of Lightning. Cole, Master of Earth. And Zane, Master of Ice. These 4 elements are known as the elements of creation, and are the main 4 elements of Ninjago. Wu reveals a super crucial and powerful thing the ninja can do. With their 4 powers combined, they can create a tornado of creation, giving them the ability to create something from nothing. They get 3 of the 4 weapons, but then make an oopsie and are outsmarted by the Skulkins, and those 3 weapons get taken away. Wu takes the 4th weapon they need, the Sword of Fire, and heads to the underworld. And that was a stupid move. Him taking the weapon unleashed its protector, the Fire Dragon. Kai watched the movie How to Train Your Dragon and used it as a tutorial, learning how to tame and fly his elemental dragon, and they use him to travel to the underworld. Wu and the ninja fail, and Samukai gets a hold of all 4
Hey,
weapons.
listen, he's just
So you
naming
see,
character
a
traits,
little
man. It's not
rule
his
with the
fault.
golden
He
weapons.
was made
No
this way.
one person can hold all 4 at the same time, for their power is too immense. Samukai intends on betraying Garmadon, but he doesn't exactly get the time to, and gets blown to bits, which leads to opening a portal in space and time. Garmadon escapes the underworld through it, exclaiming it was all part of his master plan. Sure, buddy, make yourself seem as smart as you want. Lloyd is kicked out of his boarding school and wants to show he is the son of the almighty Garmadon. He raises hell on the townspeople of Germanici village, like stealing candy from babies. That's actually all he does. So he isn't taken seriously. So what does he do? He releases a certain enemy of the humans that almost wiped them all out. He releases the Hypnobrai tribe from their tomb. Accidentally, using reflection and hypnosis, Lloyd becomes the leader of the tribe. Way to go, Lloyd, you have an army at like 5 years old. The ninja also find out about the fabled green ninja, and they all begin to think they will be the one. Scales, the second in command to Slithra, the general of the Hypnobrai tribe, challenges his leader to Slither Pit, where Scales uses Fang Quan Do and beats the current general. Scales wins the title, the staff, and obtains the long snake tail, which is sort of weird. Scales then kicks Lloyd out. Zane gets help from a long-lost friend that he doesn't know was a long-lost friend. A robotic falcon, created by his father, finds Zane and leads him to various locations that will help them on their quests. The first thing it leads them to is the Destiny's Bounty, Captain Soto's old ship.
Do you see what's going on down here? Okay, that's just part of the video.
They eventually turn it into a flying ship and make it their new home after the monastery is burned down. Upon hearing that the Serpentine tribes used to not get along, Lloyd goes ahead and opens the Fangpire tomb. They invade the junkyard owned by Jay's parents and use their venom to turn them and the junk into Fangpire vehicles, growing their army. Wu teaches the ninja about the last remaining flute that won the humans the Serpentine War. They also learn that their golden weapons are able to turn into vehicles. I don't think that's quite how they say it, but I think it's better put that way. Turns out the Hypnobrai and Fangpire tribes are actually chill, so Lloyd has now accidentally created 2/5 of an ancient army. What does he do? Attempt to unlock another 5th. He goes to the Anacondrai tribe. Inside, he finds only one remaining, Pythor. So, I hate to break it to you, this dude is a cannibal. Like the other snakes before him, Pythor tricks Lloyd into thinking he is his friend, but his sycophancy is only to get Lloyd's map to the other Serpentine tombs, which is exactly what he does. I don't believe in corporal punishment, but man, if there was ever a time a kid deserved it, it is certainly Lloyd. Pythor brings together the 4 tribes, revealing his plan to unleash the Great Devourer, to take over Ninjago and make the humans pay for locking them.
So he ate all of his, like... He ate his whole tribe? I bet he slurped them up like spaghetti. That was typed out in my chat.
Away. Pythor takes the Serpentine to the city of Ouroboros, the resting place of the Great Devourer. In order to revive the beast, they must get 4 fang blades scattered across Ninjago. And of course, the ninja are sorta sucking at their jobs. They suck so bad, they have to get help from an anonymous Samurai X. Okay, spoiler, it's Nia, Kai's sister. Zane finds out he is a ninjroid, and after overcoming this emotional obstacle, he reaches his true potential, a feat that has been stressing out the other ninja. Wu travels to Mistake's tea shop. In case you don't remember the 1,000 different things I have said so far, Mistake was the Oni that took human form because she loved Ninjago. She owns a tea shop. Wu goes to her in search of Traveler's Tea, a very special tea that can open a portal to another realm.
So, like, as a kid, right? Did the whole the whole ninjoid thing, did they not, like, really hint at it at all? They just kind of showed it at one point in the show. Hi, Eddie. So they hinted at it, but it was, like, subtle. You wouldn't really tell if, like, you watched it for, like, a second time.
He warns it's dangerous, but Wu accepts it. He travels to the
Hope you're
realm
having
of
a good day,
madness
Eddie.
in search of help from a certain someone that has been living there, his very own
Hold
brother.
on, I forgot. Chat, look. Ninjago lore. Look, guys, look. Look, guys. Look, Ninjago. Look. Wow. Ninjago lore. Wow. That's crazy. Oh my god, look, chat, it's Garmadon. Look.
AKA super evil guy, in case you've forgotten. In Garmadon's hiatus, he has grown 2 arms so he can wield all 4 golden weapons. Garmadon nearly kills Wu, but the moment Wu reveals Lloyd is in danger, Garmadon's like, we cool. And Wu pretends he didn't almost just die. Jay and Nya go out on a date, and after a kiss, Jay unlocks his true potential. However, the Serpentine have Nya go
What do you
on a
mean
date.
they went on a date? What kind of date is this?
And after a kiss, Jay unlocks his true potential. However, the Serpentine have just found the first Fang Blade.
You know what? To some people, that does look like a date. I'm gonna be real.
Just saying, there are 5 Serpentine tribes, so why is there only 4 Fang Blades? Sure, the Anacondrai only have 1 member, but they didn't have only 1 member when the Fang Blades were created. Cole reunites with his dad and solves his daddy issues.
Dude, I don't care that the date went wrong. It's just, you show a picture of a chick that's chained into a roller coaster, like, yeah, so they went on a date.
Unlocking his true potential. During this, they also
That's
reference
funny.
Clutch Powers, a famous explorer who got his own movie, pre-Ninjago. This was supposed to be a little funny Easter egg, but in like 10 seasons, he becomes an actual character. The ninja aren't exactly happy that they have to work with Garmadon, but they sorta just deal with it. The Serpentine get the 2nd and 3rd Fang Blades, but on the bright side, Kai reaches his full potential when he saves Lloyd from the snakes. Also, in the volcano they rescued him from, the Time Twins and future Wu briefly time travel there. Still no biggie, and it shouldn't concern you yet. In this epiphany moment, they also realize Lloyd is the destined Green Ninja. Lloyd and Garmadon get their reunion they have wanted for a while, but moments later, learn their fates. Sorry, Dad. You know what patricide means, right? Eesh, talk about daddy issues. The wildest thing is that Lloyd says when they meet again, he will defeat him, and Garmadon says he wouldn't have it any other way. Alright, this is a weird...
Does anyone actually know what that means? Patricide? I don't even think it's how you pronounce it. Remember wanting to beat the shit out of a kid. That's how you know it's good writing. If you don't like a character so much that you want to beat the shit out of them, you know they're being written very well.
Relationship. Pythor foolishly unleashes the Great Devourer, and then instantly regrets it, realizing it obeys no one. The Great Devourer has this name for...
Patricide. It's what that Beatrix lady did to Levo, or whatever. She exploded his helicopter.
For a reason.
Yeah, close
he
enough.
eats Pythor, Master Wu, and destroys the Destiny bounty. He also ravages through Ninjago City. They have a hard time killing it, but figure out it has a weak spot on its head. Kai just magically knows this tiny, tiny neon green spot on its head just automatically means it's a weak spot.
Have you played video games? We've gone into the era of video games where everyone thinks gamers are so fucking stupid they make weak spots so visible.
Garmadon wants to help the ninja in exacting revenge on the beast that bit him decades ago. Garmadon is the only one able to help them as he can wield all 4 weapons at once. Obviously, they are hesitant, but Zane says that in all of his calculations, this is the only option. Just about the exact same scene from Infinity War with Doctor Strange and Thanos. They devise a little plan, and Garmadon destroys the Great Devourer. His nasty gut sludge fills the entirety of the city. Surprise, Wu got extremely lucky and didn't die. But Pythor is nowhere to be seen. Don't forget, he can become invisible, so he survived. After the defeat, Garmadon escapes with the 4 weapons.
Why can't he hold all 4? You didn't write this down, did you? You didn't write this down. He grew 2 arms, so he could wield all 4. Alright?
I guess we can chalk that up to a necessary evil. All is well and the ninja have matured. I guess not fully, but it's night and day from when they started. Just because they don't show it doesn't mean the Great Devourer didn't kill a lot of people in its brief stay in Ninjago City. 2 of the victims of the serpent was the parents of a young girl named Harumi. Harumi loved the ninja and idolized them. But then the Devourer...
Let me guess. Because the Devourer killed her parents, and the ninja didn't stop them before that happened, she's going to have a vendetta, and she suddenly hates the ninjas.
Entered the city and took away her parents. News got out that Garmadon was truly the one that killed the snake, so he was seen as the hero that day.
I was close.
Harumi's focus shifted and began idolizing Lord Garmadon. Surely she won't become an issue and say, I don't know, exactly 6 seasons or so. Now with the power of creation from the weapons, Garmadon fixes up the bounty and turns it into his own ship, the Black Bounty. He convinces the Serpentine to abandon their generals in favor of him. The ninja, however, aren't having it as great as Garmadon right now. With no bounty or monastery, they search for a new home in Ninjago City. They're also poor, so they can't afford a nice place, or really a place at all. The ninja get jobs. It was at this point I became worried if filler was going to be an issue going forward. I was proven correct in approximately 9 seasons.
Oh! Bro, what? Who the fuck? What the fuck?
Be an issue going forward. I was proven correct in approximately 9 seasons. Garmadon heads to the Golden Peaks, where the gold of the weapons originally came from. He combined all 4 together to become the Mega Weapon. This weapon has the power to grant 1 wish a day, but then completely drains the user's power for that day. He learns this accidentally, resurrecting Captain Soto and his crew. Soto tells about the Dark Island, and now Garmadon has his heading. The ninjas settle on a place to train Lloyd, a dojo owned by Lego Johnny Bravo, or Dareth. Also the Brown Ninja. They take that joke all too literally way down the line. Garmadon abuses the mega weapon, turning...
Okay, why are you guys freaking out about the Brown Ninja?
the ninja into kids. He wasn't even trying to do that. He was trying to revive ancient creatures called... Grundles. Don't. Just don't call them that. Wu fixes their problem with a potion, but it also causes Lloyd to become older. They go to face Garmadon, but he runs away after seeing Lloyd grown. Trying to avoid the inevitable, he wishes the ninja never existed, and thus he travels back in time. The 4 ninja follow him into his time portal.
No way. Wait a minute. Grundles can refer to a few different things. Slang for the Imperium, the name of a group of creatures from My Little Pony the movie, or a cover band called the Grundles. Dude, that's what? What does Grundles mean? It's apparently Grundle is a slur. Or it's slang, sorry.
They end up back when the Skulkins invaded the blacksmith to steal the map. They talk to Wu before the attack and let him know what's going on. They alter history a bit, and Nia isn't captured.
The Grundle, defined on Urban Dictionary as... Oh, man. Oh, man. The Grundle, defined on Urban Dictionary as the region between the balls and the arsehole. Wasn't that called... Never mind.
But they still must make it so Kai becomes a ninja. Future Garmadon attacks past Kai, and after trying their best not to intervene, Future Kai helps past Kai. Past Kai literally does not even question it. Not even one lick of confusion seeing yourself. The only thing to revert everything is to destroy
I've known that
the mega weapon.
We're watching
which
Ninjago.
Makes no sense. But they use the past golden weapons too, so that makes 0 sense. And 100% creates a paradox. If the past didn't have the weapons, they wouldn't be where they are now. I mean, just for the most basic example, the Great Devourer wouldn't have been killed. Or how about the
No way.
basic example? The Great...
Dude, Ninjago has their own version of Guitar Hero! That's cool!
Devourer wouldn't have been killed. Or how about the fact that if the golden weapons didn't exist, they could have never chosen Lloyd to be the Green Ninja? I could sit and rant and try to make sense of it. It is completely useless. Whatever, it doesn't even matter anymore.
Isn't he evil,
The
though?
4 ninja, Nia, Wu, and Garmadon remember the mega weapon in the current timeline, but Lloyd doesn't. And I don't know if that makes sense or not. So now in present day, the venom gut juice from the Devourer has really caused some problems for Ninjago City. It's seeping into the museum and turning ancient stuff sentient. A worker at this museum is Misako, Lloyd's mother. And not only does he have daddy issues, he has mommy issues. Most likely because both parents abandoned him, but, you know, whatever. The stone army that the Overlord created long ago has been petrified all these years, and is regaining sentience from the venom. Garmadon loses the support of the Serpentine, and a mutiny is thrown. Garmadon haphazardly washes up on the Dark Island, where he encounters the Overlord in a weird floating ball form. He guides Garmadon to sort of make the Dark Island rise. Meanwhile, Scales has reunited all Serpentine again, and is crowned the king. Attempting Pythor 2.0, they dig tunnels under Ninjago City. The snakes accidentally dig into the tomb of the remaining stone warriors, and thus release the Stone Army. But then the Serpentine get locked into the same tomb. Misako also tells Wu that she regrets not picking him first. She wants his staff, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
Garmadon
man.
is led to the Helmet of Shadows that grants him power over the entire Stone Army. He also begins the Celestial Clock, which begins the countdown to the final battle of good and evil. On their way to the Temple of Light, which is on the Dark Island, they crash on the lighthouse island that Dr. Julian, Zane's father, is trapped on. But, you know, samukai and all that. Dr. Julian joins them on their journey to the Dark Island. At the Temple of Light, they each get an elemental sword after Lloyd rings the instrument of peace. They use their new swords to send their elemental energy to Lloyd, unlocking his
I'm not
true
changing
powers.
that.
Garmadon
No,
is harvesting...
I don't know anything about the brown ninja other than that you guys are like simping for the brown ninja.
Dark matter for the Overlord's ultimate weapon, the Garmatron. If hit by it, it will turn that thing evil. They fail in preventing the clock, so the final battle can begin at any moment. The Garmatron becomes functional and begins shooting at Ninjago, thus offsetting the balance of good and evil. The Overlord is finally able to pass over into the mortal world. He possesses Lord Garmadon, turning him into a nasty lizard beak thingy with claws. The Overlord and his stone army head to Ninjago, leaving...
Yeah, but I haven't seen him do anything Johnny Bravo related, so I'm not convinced yet.
The ninja behind. The Overlord abandons Garmadon's body and turns into his final form, which is just a rather lackluster dragon thing. Dareth, the poop ninja, grabs the helmet that controls the Stone Army, thus becoming one of the most powerful people in all of Ninjago. When they make it back to Ninjago City, Lloyd becomes the ultimate spinjitsu master, the Golden Ninja, and basically one-shots the Overlord on his giant citadel building. Quite the build-up for basically a nothing fight. Amongst the rubble, in walks Garmadon, fully purified and free of evil. Kai wraps up their day saying, they may never have to fight anyone again. Listen, bucko, 15 more seasons tell me otherwise. So quite a bit happens after the final battle. There's this guy named Cyrus Borg, and he renovates Ninjago City into New Ninjago City. Everything is super technologically advanced. His main headquarters, Borg Tower, was built on top of where the Overlord was defeated. Shocker, the Overlord
Borg Tower
didn't die. His spirit just floated away and infested a hard drive within
Isn't
Borg
that what
Tower.
happens when you
Lloyd's
die?
Ultra Dragon is also ready to
What?
go home, so Lloyd allows it to return to the realm of Oni and Dragon, where a group of dragon hunters kill it shortly thereafter. I'll talk about them in a bit. Dr. Julian also dies, just off screen. He was a cool character, so that was very unjustified. Garmadon has also taken on a life of pacifism and becomes a sensei. The ninja are invited to Borg Tower for a meeting with Cyrus. There they meet Pixel, sort of like a robot servant. She scans Zane and says he's outdated. Nia also stumbles upon a machine that tells her who she is supposed to end up with. And instead of Jay, who she has been dating, it says Cole. This begins a whole stupid storyline where they sit and argue back and forth which one gets Nia. I didn't like that part. Borg secretly gives the ninja 4 weapons called Technoblades. The Overlord finds...
Here's a radio.
Master Wu, come in. A second Grendel has hit the Borg Tower.
finds this out, and since he is like basically
Dude, I almost called it the Borg. That's it. It's called the Borg Tower. I don't care. If Borg shows up, no one tell him.
Building and has been forcing Borg to do stuff against his will, the building and all of the technology inside turns against the ninja, including Pixel. Wu stayed behind and gets captured. Pixel uses Zane's scans to create an...
Yo, man, I ain't no freak or nothing, but
entire army of ninjroids. Right away, they're thrusted into another fight against the Overlord. I'm not complaining, but could you have, like, waited a season? Zane is able to hack into Pixel and make her good again. The Garmadons also go into hiding as the Overlord is searching for Lloyd. A cloaked figure steals the Overlord hard drive and powers him at his base. This hooded man is no man, but Pythor, now white, bleached from the guts of the devourer. He also stole Wu and makes him robotic, introducing Techno Wu, something
Oh man. Excuse me?
that could have been so cool and was underutilized like crazy. In order to revive Pixel, Zane gives her half of his heart. What a true love story. The Garmadons go through Hiroshi's labyrinth, a dangerous place no one has ever made it through besides Hiroshi himself. After Pythor leaves behind a white Scale, the ninja head to the sewers to investigate. Scales greets them with his wife and child. Wow.
I'm sorry,
didn't
fucking
expect
what?
that. You know what that means? They had no.
What?
It is there the ninja learn of the Serpentine legend, the Curse of the Golden Master. Lloyd is captured and Garmadon is left for dead in the Endless Sea. The Overlord begins draining Lloyd's golden power to become corporeal once again. They rescue Lloyd and he gives everyone back their elemental powers. Pythor has an
James.
impressive
I'm good, man. How
gullet
are you?
and keeps the sludgy Overlord
We're learning
inside
about
his throat,
Ninjago.
as he isn't totally corporeal yet. Pythor and the ninjroids are working on something called Project Arcturus, named after the Anacondrai general. When they time traveled and launched the past golden weapons and future mega weapons into space, it landed on a comet, still ignoring that horrible time paradox. They are building a rocket ship to retrieve them to complete the Overlord's return. The ninja follow them
Dude, what the fuck?
to space, but fail colossally, as they usually do in the penultimate episode.
Yo, so wait, this is where Warframe started? Holy shit. You know Warframe is like ninjas in space, right? We're about almost an hour in.
And end up stranded on
Excuse
the
me.
comet. While the ninjroids return with the gold from the melted weapons, the Overlord becomes the Golden Master. General Cryptor, general of the ninjroids, makes a genuinely ableist joke towards Cyrus Borg, which heavily implies someone programmed them to discriminate. The ninja,
Bro, did they deadass name that dude Cyrus Borg? You couldn't just call him Cyborg and just
Seymour Weiner passed away.
That's great. Here, you know what? While I Google this, you guys can look at vampire titties. Oh, wow, no, yeah, no shit. Mets announced the death of superfan Seymour Weiner. Get those tits off my screen. We're watching Ninjago. Yeah, for real, man. Yeah, no, he died. Seymour Weiner announces death, or they announced his death, and he loved all the jokes about his name. Did you know what? If I had a really bad name like that, like Seymour Wieners, I would embrace it so hard. I don't get people that get so offended for jokes, bro. It's a joke, right? Come on. You know how funny it would be if you went along with the joke?
both senseis, by the way, Wu is fine now, Nia, Cyrus Borg, and whoever else is on their side take up refuge in the Temple of Fortitude, the very same place the Overlord created to shield golden power. This is where stuff gets
Gee, dude, you know what? I've lived my whole life, and I never thought that robots could be racist to cyborgs. Like, this is blowing my mind right now.
insanely dumb, and this finale makes no sense.
Yeah, robism.
Genius Cyrus Borg says he has what can defeat the Overlord, a diet pill that would shrink the Overlord so
You know, Fuming, I'm starting to see why you can't take this show seriously. Yeah, dude, you can't say clankers with a hard R like that. It's like when you guys yell at me for saying slacker.
their new goal is to feed it to him. Yeah, I mean, I do recall last season
fucking-
it was like
hey!
this giant buildup with the Golden Ninja to, you know...
Dude, the robots called him crippled. So he called him fat. Oh, got
Have the
him.
final battle, but now they feed him a pill. So, what? The ninja are also given stone warrior armor that can protect against...
It's so dumb, dude. I can't. What'd you say about me? Huh? Yeah, well, you're fat.
golden power. They build up the Overlord, this super
That's
evil,
great.
bad meanie head,
I'm
not
sorry.
once,
I would've
but
been too
twice. But then they realized they made him too powerful, and they made it so there's no possible way for them to logically defeat them. But in the last episode, there's suddenly overpowered armor and a fortress that protects them. They fling the pill at the Overlord, but Pythor takes it instead and it shrinks him. Now the Overlord grabs the ninja with his golden power, and the armor just suddenly doesn't work.
That's how you combat cripple phobia. Fat phobia. Is cripple phobia a real thing? There's no way. Well, I did find an interesting Reddit post. Is cripple a slur? Yep. No, it's fine. Yes, it's a slur. Many disabled people are reclaiming it, but it's still a case-by-case basis. So you shouldn't use it unless you're physically disabled or referring to yourself. Unless you get the okay from a fellow disabled Dude, I'm not gonna go up to my pal and ask him if it's okay if I call him a cripple. I'm just not gonna say it. What the fuck?
Why did you introduce it then? They even say, why doesn't the armor work? And the Overlord says in response, because your time is over. Thank you for the explanation. That really
I
clears
don't
it
want
up.
the C word
Zane,
passed.
the only ninja not captured, grabs onto the golden armor, which, keep in mind, is not only 4 golden weapons, but 8 of them, and one single person shouldn't be able to hold 4. But Zane is able to hang on to 8. Well, I mean, hang on isn't the right word, but because it is destroying him.
Hey, Vandler.
But still, they really broke their rules. He should have instantly exploded. Zane hangs on and starts shooting ice at the Overlord, beginning to overpower him. And then Zane explodes. But so does the Overlord. Okay, I watched this season as a kid. I love Ninjago. Didn't think much of it. But now,
Dude,
looking back at
Zane's a G. Zane's a G. Not only did he prove them wrong, he won.
scene. Come on. It makes 0 sense. And it breaks.
Do you have any
Trapping
ibuprofen?
everyone here, including
I got a
Raina
headache.
Link.
Oh no. Oh no. Which color are you guys looking at? Because I'm looking at blue. I gotta get it off the screen.
All of the rules. Zane wasn't more powerful than the other ninja. They were all in a predicament. All of their elemental powers were weak. The Overlord was at full power.
You
And just
see
one of the
colors?
ninjas,
What do you mean?
Not even.
There's colors there. Red. Hold on. Oh my god, that has sounds. It has sounds? Yeah, I'm stuck. Yeah, there's red, orange, yellow, green, like lime green, cyan, light blue, blue, dark blue, dark blue. Fuck, man.
And
Thank you for the 100
golden
bits, Alec.
ninja. But the Ice Ninja was able to beat him.
Are color things like invisible for colorblind people? Let me use this as an example. You see this blue right here? I'm not colorblind, so I'm just taking a guess. Because the way I was explained to it when I was a kid was, you know how like at traffic lights they have that little yellow light. They have that separate light that sits on top of the traffic light for colorblind people. That's a light significant. I think it's for when they go. I don't know if it's stop or go, but there's a light that's that's up there that signifies, hey, you need to stop. Right? They don't see red, yellow, or green. It all looks like the same color to them, if that makes sense. I don't know anything about color blindness. I'm just going off of what I was told as a kid.
Because Zane was the main character.
Like, you guys really believe that all dogs see black and white?
This season, and they wanted to kill him off? Seriously. Pixel goes to the factory, where Zane has placed his consciousness.
Who the fuck woke up one day and was like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure everyone in the world knows that dogs only see black and white. Yeah, bro, that's how it is in SL. Well, that's different, Icy. Fuck. The most common colorblind type is not being able to see difference between red and green. Yeah. That's what, like I said, traffic lights. When you guys go out driving and you see a traffic light that has a little red, like a little light on the top of it that has no color to it, that's like a signification like, hey, this means stop. This means go. I don't know what Dog's vision is.
Him and Pixel
Why are we on this conversation? We're just trying to watch Ninjago.
continue their relationship from there. No, Zane isn't
Shut
dead.
up!
So what was the point of breaking the
Shut
rules?
up!
Fun fact about me. As far as I can remember, this is the first time I ever cried watching a show. I was like 8 or 9 or something when this season came out, and when Zane was dying, I was like, oh my god, and I shed a little baby tear. Pixel eventually builds Zane a new body, but in secret. New character, Ronin. He's a riffraff, shifty, backstabbing, thrifter. He steals Zane and Pixel and sells them like Jawa do. Who did he sell them to? Master Chen. Much older now, still living on his island he was banished to. He has a staff made of chronosteel, so he steals Zane's ice power. Both him and Pixel are imprisoned on this island. Pixel is completely deconstructed, but her brain is still on a hard drive. So Zane sticks that in himself, and she basically becomes Zane's Jarvis. However, the ninja don't know any of this. They still believe Zane is dead.
No, I don't think
the ninja
that's true,
disband and they do
James.
their own thing. Lloyd reunites the ninja and meet at Chen's Noodle House, a real noodle restaurant, but is really a front for Chen's crime empire. This is Chen's Los Pollos Hermanos. That is the first of 2 breaking.
Hayokami. Hayokami. No. Read it again. Read it out loud.
Crime empire. This is Chen's Los Pollos Hermanos. That is the first of 2 Breaking Bad
Pause the video.
references.
Pause the video. I only know one Los Ponos Lamanos. You son of a bitch. It's Greg Green. It's okay. Thank you for the 26 months, Okami. How you been? I miss your face, dude. Hope you're doing good.
Is in this video. I can't help it. The ninja find out Zane is alive and on the island. Chen is hosting a game called the Tournament of Elements, where other elemental masters will compete. This is the first the ninja are hearing of other elemental masters. Garmadon even admits that they made them think they were special. In order to rescue their friend, the ninja decide to go on the island to compete. The game is simple. The players compete against one another in various challenges. Winner moves on. The loser gets their power sucked into the chronosteel staff. Said staff will be awarded.
Yeah, I've been seeing you on Twitter, pal. I hope you're good. Hope you're good. Everyone say hi to Okami. We love Okami. Okami is a longtime viewer. Oh. Oh. It's good to see you, dude. I'm glad you're alive. Okay, that's all that matters. I'm glad you're still alive.
Awarded to the winner at the very end. This is at least what Chen says will happen, but is not actually the truth.
No,
Time to
no.
meet the challengers. Karloff,
We don't kill
Master of
them.
Metal.
No,
Mr.
no.
Pale, Master of Light. Gravis, Master of Gravity. Griffin Turner, Master of Speed.
Oh. My God. He looks like a speedster. 3 years? God damn, dude. It's really been 3 years?
Nero, Master of Mind, Shade, Master of Shadow, Jacob Pevsner,
Dude, you know what he looks like? Oh my god. You know what he looks like? He looks like Black Dynamite. It's crazy.
Master of Sound, Tox, Master of Poison, Camille, Master of Form, Bolobo, Master of Nature,
Dude, these names are phenomenal. He was the master of sound.
Ash, Master of Smoke, and finally, Skylar, Master of Amber, which means whoever she touches, she can use their element. Skylar
What if they got no element?
is also Chen's daughter, but that is kept a secret. Chen has a high affinity for the Anacondrai tribe, and makes his pupils and warriors get tattoos of the snakes. After a player is eliminated, their powers are stripped, and then enslaved to work in his noodle factory. In case it wasn't obvious,
Dude, I don't... Dude, that's... Dude, you make such a valid point. Like, I love how every single one of those characters have some relation to their ability, but then there's... there's Jacob Pevsner. It's so stupid. Oh my god.
not all of this was put up front, and Chen really has some villainous intentions. Skipping way ahead, many of the players are eliminated and enslaved, including Cole, who also frees Zane. They find out that Klaus, using his dark magic spells, combined with every element, plan on turning Chen and all of his men into real Anacondrai warriors. Talk about being a fanboy. The ninja figure out Chen's plot and convince all of the other elemental masters to join them in their fight. After Zane conquers his fear, he unlocks his elemental dragon, and inspires all other elemental masters to do so, unleashing an entire flock of elemental dragons. That's cool.
Oh my god, I really want to make an RP character for Zomboid. That's just Jacob Pevsner. It's just, dude, I was like, yeah, I'm so invested into this. And then Jacob Pevsner showed up.
No biggie. Zane spent all season conquering his fear, but everyone else just gets to do it in 5 seconds. Seems fair, I guess. Garmadon and Klaus fight, and the latter opens up a portal to the cursed realm with his spellbook. Garmadon overpowers him and throws Klaus in. They begin the spell, but it cannot remain permanent without the essence of a true Anacondrai, and all who work for him begin the transformation into snakes. But it quickly starts to wear off. With only one Anacondrai left in existence, they set their course for Pythor, who's locked away in Cryptarium Prison, where all the most evilest of evil goes. Like Captain Soto, the ninja...
I'm sorry. Is that a Wilson reference? Are you talking to a basketball dude? Okay.
also head to the prison in hopes of finding a weakness in the Anacondrai. The mini Pythor is captured by Chen, and they force him to sweat. They become true Anacondrai, and
They force him to what? They what?
Pythor is captured by Chen, and they force him to sweat. They
That's it?
become true Anacondrai, and thus the Second Serpentine War has begun. Pythor, enraged at the disgrace and mockery of his species, grabs Klaus's spellbook and takes it to Garmadon. He says that they can bring back the original Anacondrai generals if the person that sent them to the Cursed Realm takes their place, and that person is Garmadon. Garmadon willingly sacrifices himself and heads to the Cursed Realm. He makes peace with Lloyd, Wu, and Misako, apologizing for his chaos and the faked letter. General Arcturus and the other Anacondrai, in spirit form, curse Chen and the fake Anacondrai and send them to the Cursed Realm. Right before the Cursed Realm portal closes, the cursed soul of Moro escapes. After Lloyd is called to investigate some disturbance in the museum, he fights Moro, but you can't fight him, so Lloyd becomes possessed.
Sorry, man.
Moro shows up to
should've
the
put a
tea shop
spoiler
and
tag
attacks
up.
Wu in pursuit of his staff that once belonged to the first spinjitsu master. In this moment, Wu learns the message his father left him was written on the staff, and so he makes a copy. To get rid of Moro, he gives him the staff, which was dumb. Moro wants to find the tomb of the first spinjitsu master to steal the realm crystal and sorta conquer all 16 realms. That's sort of his end goal, I guess. The first clue in the message leads them to the city of Styx, a city built on the endless sea. Ronan, that a-hole that sold Zane to Chen, has a pawn shop in the city. Ronan just recently stole the ancient scrolls of Airjitsu from the library of Domu. That's what the ninja need. Moro beats them to it and learns Airjitsu. Not that he couldn't already fly, but sure. They try another method of getting a scroll, going to Master Yang's cursed temple. They learn Airjitsu, but Cole didn't make it out of the temple in time and falls victim to the curse, thus becoming a ghost. He's fine.
Someone earlier said we should watch a Kingdom Hearts lore video. And this one's only like an hour, just under 2 hours. The Kingdom Hearts lore video is like 3.5 hours.
Just a ghost now. He can't touch any objects, and people can't touch him, but they can still communicate. These rules are bent for story convenience. A lot. So don't really
Half-Life
worry
lore
about
videos.
that. They
I
never
know about
exactly
Half-Life,
set
though, that's
rules,
the thing.
so that way they can't break them. Moro summons some of his ghost allies with his armor. One of them is the Soul Archer.
I've actually
to whom
consumed a lot of
Ronan is
Half-Life
indebted
content
to.
growing up.
If
I
Ronan's
love
debt
Half-Life.
is not paid, his soul gets banished to the Cursed Realm. The second clue in the message leads them to the Sword of Sanctuary, a sword that can see the opponent's next attack. The ninja head to the Cloud
Yeah,
Kingdom. Master
we're gonna
Rider
do
Fenwick
starting next week. We're gonna watch a MatPat video leading up to the my very last stream ever, where I'll be playing FNAF Security Breach and critiquing it positively. Sure.
has betrayed his entire kingdom and helps the ghosts.
Ever.
But despite this, the ninja make it out with the sword. Ronan is ordered to pay his debt.
That's the
and
thing, right? There's so many. How many FNAF videos does MatPat have? I see. 110. How long are they? 16. Oh, they're around 20-ish minutes. So we gotta go through 110 videos. And don't watch the first one. This one? Why? What's wrong with this one? You know, I'm gonna be real, MatPat. I don't consider FNAF the scariest gaming out there. Oh. I think FNAF is very not scary by any means. Yeah. Watch FNAF not scary. Oh boy, I feel like I just stumbled onto the most brain-rotty FNAF content I've ever seen. Yeah, let's go back to Ninjago.
gives the ghost the Sword of Sanctuary. He is able to defeat the ninja and trick Wu and Misako in the biggest plot convenience in the entire show.
Yeah, well, Bells,
I don't like
you're-
to sit
you're-
and complain, but
you're a
seriously,
pussy,
the writing
so-
in this moment was
Sorry.
so bad. There is no way Ronan should have been able to get away. The ninja are suddenly brain dead. They race to the first Spinjitzu Master's tomb. Then the ninja have a scene that mimics Ice Age identically.
Oh my god!
Moro leaves Lloyd's body, but gets away with the realm crystal. He opens the portal, unleashing all of his ghost friends. They are waiting on the preeminent to gain more energy to cross the ethereal divide. So, if you'll recall, the preeminent is a creature, but also is the cursed realm, and they want her to pass into Ninjago, effectively bringing one realm into another.
I'm new to Ninjago, but even I think that's a terrible idea.
It is hard to make sense of it. One thing I've neglected to mention that during the entire time Moro has been in Ninjago, Nya has been training with Master Wu to become the water ninja. This is also incredibly convenient because the ghost's weakness is water. Lloyd gets close to
I find it so ironically funny that you just you beat ghosts by just you know?
destroying the realm crystal, but Moro warns him that if he does that, he will never be able to see his father again. Lloyd gets sucked into the cursed realm and sees his father. Chen and Klaus are there too. Garmadon basically gives him permission to destroy the cursed realm. Lloyd returns to Ninjago, and him and Moro fight for the realm crystal. In doing so, they travel to the underworld,
unmatched
the Cloud
power of
Kingdom,
my pool.
and none other than Chima. Meanwhile, the preeminent fully travels over, and with the help of her ghosts and the buildings of sticks, becomes a giant walking monster. We'll go with the word monster. Nya unlocks her true potential and defeats nearly all of the ghosts. Cole is fine though, because, you know, he decides he wants to be. Moro finally accepts his master, and I think he realized he may have just made a few teensy-weensy little mistakes. Moro gives Wu the realm crystal and is like, peace, and gets pulled into the water, killing him and the preeminent, which means all of those inside the cursed realm are also killed, so Garmadon and Chen, but not Klaus. Just like Moro, he escaped before the portal closed. Due to the preeminent's death, and thus the collapse of the cursed realm, its sister realm, Ninjago, also begins to crumble. The escaped Klaus would go on to pester the ninja, trying to steal a yin-yang dragon from them. A yin-yang dragon can either turn into a shadow dragon or a light dragon, depending on its upbringing. Dragon, named Bandit, is turned into a shadow dragon, but quickly changes into a light dragon after Kai and Nya inspire it. I sorta don't really know what to make of that small side story. It was a play at Legoland, but it's canon.
Wait, I think I've seen this play actually. I went with this really hot goth girl to Legoland because we thought it would be like a really cool like place to like hang out, and we didn't know it was like a kids park.
The turd ninja, Dareth, has become the ninja's manager and makes them even more famous. So famous they are requested.
She loved theme parks, and we were like looking for ones we both never been to. And we're like, oh hey, look, it's Legoland. There's one in Florida. And listen, I call her a goth girl. I loved her to death. I didn't realize how much I loved tattooed goth women until like she showed up in my life. That girl, phenomenal girl. Super cool girl. I miss her every day.
For a grant-a-wish. For a kid with multiple broken limbs. I guess that's as severe as they allowed for the show.
Sorry, I keep on. We had a great time. It's just we had no idea it was a kids park. Cause we both like Legos. At the time.
The kid claims to be the purple ninja. His name is Lil Nelson. And normally I wouldn't mention something as minuscule as this side plot, but Lil Nelson goes on to get an entire episode dedicated to him. When I said there's filler, there is filler. They hear Klaus is out to cause some havoc. To escape the news helicopters and fame, they hide on top of a building. There, Jay and Nya kiss, and all of Ninjago sees it broadcasted. Klaus reaches the city of Styx in search of the teapot of Tehran, but fails in getting it, leaving the teapot lost forever. However, in an alternate timeline, Jay and
Holy shit, that is hit! What?
Leaving the teapot lost forever. However...
Okay, I can see it now. I can see why he's called the Johnny Bravo. Holy shit!
In an alternate timeline, Jay and Nya do not kiss on the rooftop, and Klaus finds the teapot of Tehran. In this timeline, Klaus unleashes Nadakon the Djinn. Through his trickery, Klaus doesn't get what he wishes for and gets sucked into the teapot. Nadakon is unleashed to the world. He is the very same Djinn Captain Soto took down hundreds of years ago. Nadakon is a very powerful being. He can grant wishes, teleport, shapeshift, and just anything to do with magic, really. He breaks into Hiroshi's labyrinth where the realm crystal has been hidden. He steals it and rescues his old crew across the realms. He manages to frame the ninja and make them public enemy number 1. The ninja are arrested by a new
If anybody's curious what it's like when I get a picture taken on a ride, that's me right there.
frame the ninja and make them public enemy number 1. The ninja
So yeah,
are
you could technically say that this is the face I make when I'm on a ride.
arrested by a new character, the police commander.
Dude, the twins arc ended like an hour ago. Like 45 minutes ago. We're way past that.
And then they are put in Cryptarium prison. Inside there they encounter Captain Soto. He speaks from his past experience on how the ninja can defeat Nadakon. Using the venom of a tiger widow, it can slow down a djinn, but must be used with caution as it will kill a human. I'd like to point out, now that she is a ninja, Nia was arrested with them and put in a predominantly or all male prison. I guess they just don't care in Ninjago. Nadakon travels to a crumbling Jinjago and his father explains the sister realm thing and learns the ninja are behind it. He receives the Jin blade from his father, and despite his daddy issues, vows to avenge Jinjago. Nadakon slowly traps all of the ninja in his blade, tricking them with wishes. Flintlock, Nadakon's right-hand man, realizes Nadakon's true intentions. Marry a woman, thus making him a king. A Jin king can grant himself infinite wishes. Nia just so happens.
Is this like lore for just Ninjago, or is this just normal for Jins? Because wow. Holy crap, I didn't know that.
Happens to be the nearest female and look exactly like his past love, Delara. So
Yes, as in yes, that's for just Ninjago, or yes, that's how Jins normally are. Both. Okay, thank you.
So that's who he wants. Jay, the last ninja not in the sword, gets some help from previous cast members and a new guy. Echo
How do
Zane,
you know that?
version of Zane Dr. Julian made while trapped in the lighthouse. Prior to the mutiny, Flintlock got a faulty wish from Nadakon and made it so he can't shoot straight. Now with their plan to take Nadakon down, Flintlock has to snipe the venom
I'm sorry, can you repeat that to me?
made while trapped in the lighthouse. Prior to the mutiny, Flintlock got a faulty wish from Nadakon and made it so he can't shoot straight.
Imagine. Oh, man. Imagine. Yeah, that is a pretty cool scoped blunderbuss. I'll give it that.
Now with their plan to take Nadakon down, Flintlock has to snipe the venom into Nadakon, but because of that wish, he shouldn't be able to hit anything. Jay and Lloyd say that as long as you believe in yourself, you will be able to hit, and that
So as long as I believe, I'm gonna message her right now. As long as I believe in myself, I can hit. Let me get her name real quick. Let me tell you. Say less.
that Nadakon has no real power over them. I know I've complained a small decent amount, but we need to have a chat. If you're going to give the most BS, stupid reason why they can just literally not fall under his magic,
Dude,
don't have it be, well, he never really had any power to begin with. That's just wrong. He most certainly has power. Not just power, strong and effective power. Again, maybe just don't write yourself in a corner like that. Maybe I misunderstood what they said. I don't think so. Flintlock believes in himself and snipes Nadakon with the venom, but he also hit Nia. Nia dies. Like, actually dies. Jay has one wish left, and with that wish, he makes this entire story with Nadakon an alternate timeline, bringing us back to the timeline where Jay and Nia are alive on the rooftop and they kiss. Jay and Nia remember all of this, but none of the other ninja do. Wu also seems to remember it, even though that doesn't make any sense. In this main timeline, Klaus never got the teapot, leaving Nadakon stuck
So wait,
in
you're
it.
telling me they wrote an entire season around this arc just for it to be like, nah, it kind of happened.
In an unlikely pairing, Misako and Ronin travel to the Dark Island to investigate missing sailors.
That's crazy.
After not returning from their voyage, Wu and the ninja set out to rescue them.
So here's my next question: was that the weakest season? No. Okay, wow. Okay.
The
all right.
bounty crashes and splits up the ninja. On the Dark Island, they encounter Klaus, who is still a spirit, and is using dark matter to corrupt the Temple of Light so he can reconnect Ninjago
It
Island
gets weaker.
and the
Oh,
Dark
God.
Island as one land chunk again, putting him in control of all of it. Also on this island are the Sky Pirates, minus Nauticon. Jay and Nia are the only ones who remember them because of the wish. Klaus is banished to the underworld, and the Sky Pirates get locked away in Cryptarium, and are never seen again. Sometime later, the ninja are invited to observe the new museum of Ninjago's greatest enemies, hosted by Dr. Saunders. It just so happens to be the Day of the Departed, which is
You know, I swear to God, I've seen a movie where they had a museum of all their greatest enemies, and it didn't work out for them. And I'm almost certain there was a dog in it, and some guy had an ascot on. One really had a big glow up. She was really hot, and the whole city blamed them for that. That's crazy. Oh Jesus! Hold on. Yeah, hold on. I'll look that up real quick.
is sort of
I'm
like their
curious.
Memorial Day. Not only is it the Day of the Departed, but the lunar eclipse, the rarest yin-yang eclipse. Cole is whining that he is still a ghost, and then all of a sudden, he is forgotten by his friends. One of those things that don't entirely make sense. Cole meanders over to the Sensei Yang exhibit, where the yin blade is on display. Cole takes the blade and heads to the Temple of Erjitsu to exact revenge on Sensei Yang. Yang tricks
Really?
Cole in opening a rift to the departed realm that could have
The complete history of Doctor Who is 1 hour less than this.
only occurred because of the special eclipse. The souls of Samukai, Kozu, Cryptor, which, I mean, he's a nindroid, should he really have a soul? Chen, and Moro flee the departed realm and possess their statues in the museum. Pythor also just happens to be in the museum to check out his statue. Yang tells them that they can stay in Ninjago if they defeat the ninja. Each villain, along with Pythor, picks a certain ninja. However, Moro picks Wu, since he sort of redeemed himself, or whatever you'd like to call it. He warns Wu of Yang, and the ninja easily defeat their foes. Again. Moro just sort of dies. It's kind of funny, honestly. Cold
What the fuck? Dude, what was that?
Moro just sort of dies. It's kind of
Dude. Hold on. Can we back up? James brings up a great point. Why did that spirit just leave a spirit? Why did that ghost leave behind a ghost body that fell to pieces? What is going on? What is going on? Look. Kitty. What's going on? Didn't put my big camera on. Look, guys, kitty. You alright? What are you looking at? What's he looking at? What are you looking at, you weirdo? Alright, you can sit in my lap. I don't care.
funny, honestly. Cole defeats Yang's students, and they are allowed to re-enter Ninjago through the rift to become alive once again. Yang admits all he ever wanted was to be remembered. Cole clues him in that he already achieved that with his legendary Erjitsu. He convinces Yang to come through the rift as well, but he can't, as the temple must be haunted. Cole exits the portal as it closes and becomes human once again. Pythor has the briefest little revenge stint after this. He tries to leak Borg Industries' new piece of technology, the Borg Watch. Wow. What a threatening...
Wow, that sounds like a Google Docie!
bad guy went from unleashing an ancient giant snake to leaking the latest smartwatch. Impressive. Now it has been exactly 40 years since Wu and Garmadon sucked the Time Twins' power from them and threw them into a time rift. Achronix returns exactly 4 decades later to exact his revenge on Wu, and Wu was at the old monastery waiting for his return. Achronix hasn't aged a day, but Wu is, old isn't even the correct word. But even with his old bones, Wu defeats Achronix. The other thing that pops out of a time rift is the forward time blade, and upon its arrival it unleashes a wave of temporal energy, sending all of Ninjago ahead 1 minute. Achronix begins another battle with Wu, and this time he wins. He hits Wu with a move called the Time Punch, causing Wu to age rapidly, which is not a good thing because he doesn't have much aging left. Achronix leaves and is found by his brother, Crux, who has been pretending to be Dr. Saunders, the museum guy. Crux was never really lost to time, so he's lived these 40 years and is much older than his brother. Crux has been building an army, forcing the enslaved Ray and Maya to forge the armor. The actual army is made of vermilion warriors.
Oh shit, the
They
Time
the
Twins are back.
first-generation progeny of the Great Devourer, amalgamating to take on a more human form, or even bigger. The armor holds them together, so without the armor, they just become little baby snakes. Ray and Maya have also been forced to build a time machine called the Iron Doom. It becomes a race between the ninja and the Time Twins who can get the time blades scattered across Ninjago first. Nia's old Samurai X equipment is also stolen and someone new is wearing it. Who could that be? Well, they don't actually tell us for like a whole nother season, but I'll tell you because I care about you. It's Pixel. Kai and Nia rescue their parents and learn their backstory.
Sorry.
The Time Twins have 3 of the 4 time blades. They force Kai and Nia to get the last one that their parents hid at the bottom of the boiling sea. Only the fire and water element can actually reach it. They only agree to do it as it will reverse the effects of Wu's rapid aging. Because he almost dead. Kai and Nia create a fusion dragon, combining both of their elements. It's super cool. I love the part in the series when they utilize this again. Oh yeah, that's right. They don't. They retrieve the blade, but the Time Twins don't let them fix Wu. No duh. Didn't see that one coming. They place the 4 blades into the Iron Doom and their time machine is ready. The twins in the Vermilion Army travel back to the past, but so do Kai, Nia, and a 99% dead Wu. They travel back to right after the moment they were lost to time. The twins alter history, but with the help of Kai and Nia, the past elemental masters gain the upper hand, forcing the twins to retreat. Nia gets the past reversal blade and uses it on Wu, so his aging is back to normal. They reverse time to before the twins just retreated, and travel through their vortex chasing after them. The 5 inside the Iron Doom fight. Wu forces Kai and Nia into the present to fix their father, after he was hit with a time punch as well. Wu, however, stays in the Iron Doom with the twins as they hurtle through time. They travel to multiple different periods that we have already witnessed and some that are yet to come. Since Wu just had the reversal time blade on him, the opposite is now happening. He becomes middle-aged, then to a boy, all the way back to a toddler, and then finally a baby. And then it's just up in the air what happened to the twins. The next release is the Ninjago movie. It's not canon. Moving on. 1 year later, and still no sign of Wu, they are starting to accept that he might just be gone forever. Misako went looking for him and found baby Wu, but they were both kidnapped shortly
Has anyone
thereafter.
seen the Ninjago movie? How bad was it? Oh, it's good?
Kidnapped by a new crime syndicate called the Sons of Garmadon, led by the anonymous Quiet One, who is actually that young girl that lost her parents in the Great Devourer attack, Harumi. Then there are basically generals, Ultraviolet, Kilo, and Mr. E, who is a fierce ninjroid. They steal the first of 3 Oni masks, the Mask of Vengeance. It's the typical status quo, collect them all, super powerful. This time, it's a tad more powerful than usual though. They will be able to resurrect Garmadon, but not the awesome character of Sensei Garmadon. They will only resurrect the Oni half of Garmadon. So 4-armed Garmadon times...
Didn't I call it that she was gonna try to... She didn't like the ninjas no more?
10. Completely separate of them is this dude named the Mechanic, who recently escaped Cryptarium. He isn't very important now, but Kai and Zane briefly fight him. With the rising crime in Ninjago, the Emperor and the royal family feel the need to speak out. Oops. I forgot to mention Ninjago is ruled by a very private royal family. I mean, it doesn't really matter, they die quickly. The royal family requests the ninja protect them during this speech. Afterward, they are invited to stay at the palace. The Jade Princess was the one that invited them. Who is the Jade Princess? Harumi. She was adopted by the royal family after her parents were devoured. Inside the palace, belonging to the royal family, is the second mask. the Mask of Deception. The sons of Garmadon blow up the palace, killing the Emperor and Empress, and probably a lot more. But all that matters to Harumi is that now she has the Mask of Deception. Cole is captured by the sons and finds a baby. Unbeknownst to him, it is Wu. His blanket, or like whatever you call that, a swaddle or a napkin or something, has the map to the third mask. They have Harumi with them as well, but they don't know she's a villain. They get stuck in a storm but end up closer to the Oni Temple, the location of the last mask. They have to escape a dinosaur, which is never touched on again, but there are dinosaurs in Ninjago. Baby Wu is also aging quicker than usual and is drinking tea and walking, and from that they sort of figure out it's Wu. Lloyd also figures out Harumi is the quiet one. The sons steal the bounty and head to the...
any baby walking around drinking tea is automatically Sensei Wu. You heard it here first, guys. Don't be walking around drinking the tea, or you'll be Sensei Wu.
Temple of Resurrection. With all three masks, she begins the ritual, opening the departed realm, and talks to Garmadon. But he doesn't physically get to Ninjago. Harumi is stopped and arrested and taken to Cryptarium.
No.
Through luck, or something, Garmadon actually gets there corporeally. He heads to Cryptarium to break out his new henchmen. So actually what they do is the opposite of breakout and make the prison their new home. Lloyd goes to face his father again, believing that since he already did it once, he can purify him again. Garmadon proves Lloyd's little theory very wrong and obliterates Lloyd. He becomes Emperor Garmadon. Garmadon is finally making Ninjago into his own image like he originally wanted to. There is a massive stone giant that roams the streets called Colossus. Garmadon is looking for Baby Wu. Colossus grabs the bounty and begins crushing it. The four ninja and Baby Wu create a portal with the Traveler's Tea and enter a new realm before they are horrifically mutilated. Lloyd watches from a distance and thinks his friends were just killed. Garmadon also had the opportunity to kill Lloyd, but he didn't, and this spirals him on a mental crisis. Harumi's wishes are coming true. All she wanted was for Lloyd to lose everything like she did. Yo, she might just be one of the worst villains, at least as far as motives go. That's kinda sick. 1 week after Garmadon's rule,
agree.
Ninjago City looks like Detroit. Lloyd, Nia, Misako, Pixel, and Dareth are in hiding. They form a resistance where some of the elemental masters from the tournament show up. They obviously must remain hidden as there is a huge manhunt for Lloyd. Mr. E especially fails and Garmadon destroys him. So there's a death. It's the first permanent death in a while. At least I think. Oh wait, never mind. He doesn't technically die. Mistake also joins the resistance effort. Picking up with the ninja, they traveled to the realm of Oni and Dragon. There they are captured by the Iron Baron and his dragon hunters. They are quickly freed by the Firstborn, the original mother dragon, which the Iron Baron has a vendetta against. One of the dragon hunters, named Faith, helps them once she learns that Wu
hold
has
on. Where's
returned
my
to
boy
retrieve the
Jacob
first
Pevster?
Spinjitsu Master's
We need him
armor.
back.
That's not actually why
now.
they were there, but legend has it that the first Spinjitsu Master would return one day. The sons ambush the resistance, with only Lloyd, Nia, Dareth, Skylar, and Pixel escaping. Mistake also escaped by shapeshifting. For obvious reasons, she is now forced to tell Lloyd her backstory of being an Oni, because if she didn't, the fact that she just mutated from a rat might just be a tad preposterous. With Garmadon struggling with defeating Lloyd, Harumi tells him he doesn't need a son, when he has a daughter, and she is named the Daughter of Darkness. Now Garmadon is like, yeah, you right. Let's kill Lloyd. The sons of Garmadon attempt to kill Lloyd, but instead, Harumi is captured. They try the Stormtrooper Chewbacca trick, with Mistake shapeshifting into Harumi and Skylar would be a prisoner. If Skylar is able to touch Garmadon, she can absorb some of his power. Their plan goes slightly awry, and Mistake turns to her true Oni form to fight Garmadon, but Garmadon kills her. Now there's an actual death. Wu makes a deal with the Iron Baron to retrieve his father's armor for him, as long as they are allowed to leave the realm. When they reach the Firstborn, the Iron Baron gets a little overzealous and gets himself encased in molten rock.
Oh
Wu
my
takes
God.
his father's armor and rides Firstborn. Even though it doesn't actually control the dragon, she senses good in Wu. Wu takes his pupils and head for Ninjago. The Oni Titan, or Colossus, is controlled by Garmadon, and he makes it ravage the city. Since she touched him, Skylar is also slightly able to control it. This causes the giant rock puppet to smash into buildings and cause even more chaos. Harumi sees a young child that is about to be abandoned by their parents for their safety, which exactly mimics her situation with the Great Devourer. And then she realizes, oh, wait a second, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. She just so happens to be on a building the Colossus just damaged, and she dies as it crumbles. Garmadon, witnessing his daughter's death,
Oh my
is now
God.
hell-bent on destroying the city. Lloyd and and the middle-aged Wu fight Garmadon. Garmadon's power comes from fighting, so Lloyd refuses to fight, a technique that was taught to him by Sensei Garmadon. Through this, Garmadon's power is drained, and Lloyd's is regained. Before Garmadon is arrested, he warns Lloyd of an enemy that is coming, and that he was the only thing that could battle their darkness from devouring them all. In the departed realm, the overlord speaks to Harumi. Yeah, he's back. She agrees to help him in his plot of revenge. He resurrects her and gives her a crystal. She heads to the Oni temple and places said crystal where the mask of hatred was. She also begins looking for a massive...
My cat's trying to sleep on me, so I apologize if I look weird. Just an FYI.
Supply of Venge Stone to begin making an army. The ninja rebuild the monastery of Spinjitsu, and a large mural is painted that shows their adventures. Their battle against Nadakon is there,
of course,
despite not technically happening in this timeline, and they really shouldn't know about it. Inside Borg Tower, where the realm crystal is now held, the Oni, the bringers of doom, seep through it. They consume all of Ninjago in a giant black cloud. Anyone that enters is turned to stone. With this new undefeatable enemy, they take Garmadon's advice and enlist him. He's still evil though. He definitely isn't redeemed. He tells them that they are entering through the realm crystal. So being that he is an Oni, he should go and destroy it. Lloyd joins him, being that he is part Oni, and they are able to travel through the black cloud. They destroy the realm crystal, but it doesn't stop the Oni. Inside, where the old artifacts are kept, they see the Golden Master's golden armor, aka the armor that the Overlord wore that was once the golden weapons. They grab it and use it as a deterrent, as the Oni are scared of it. The leader Oni, Omega, gives Garmadon a run for his money. Cole is also lost in the black fog, and everyone thinks he just died. It's supposed to be like a really emotional moment, but look, I'm sorry. All I can think is that these are Lego minifigures. How am I supposed to be sad? They melt down the golden armor and reforge the golden weapons.
Bro,
Omega's school...
Didn't you talk about how you cried over a frickin' robot like 30 minutes ago? A Lego robot?
Garmadon for possibly having feelings, longing to fit in with the humans. Ooh, sick burn. Cole also survives and returns to the monastery.
That was
just
12
in time
seasons ago when he was a kid. Regardless, man. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I'm sorry. I just... Oh, guys, I just did some robism. I meant to call him a cyborg. Or a Ninjago Gorg, whatever the fuck.
as the Oni have surrounded it. The weapons aren't strong enough, so you know what they do?
A
Something
ninjoid.
that hasn't happened in, like, around 10 seasons. A tornado of creation. Kai, Jay, Cole, Zane, Lloyd, Nia, Wu, and Garmadon create a giant tornado of creation and defeat the Oni. It happens that fast. Lloyd wakes up in a random place where his grandfather, the first spinjitsu master, talks with him. So what this actually means is that Lloyd is, almost dead.
Okay.
His grandfather gives him a choice to either come with him or return to his friends and continue being the Green Ninja. Lloyd chooses the latter. As they're all celebrating and all that, Wu lets Garmadon leave the monastery. I mean, sure. It's his brother, all nice and poetic, and he might slightly be redeemed. Maybe? That is a big gamble. But, I mean, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, he basically obliterated Ninjago. Look, Wu is a wise man, but this was not very smart. Jay also asks Nia to be his Yang, so I think that's sort of like marriage. I don't know if that's just like a Ninjago thing or an actual thing in other cultures. So do you remember this guy, Mogra? Yeah, I didn't think so. He was one of the warriors that turned against the Elemental Masters in the Serpentine War. He goes to Cryptarium and breaks out the Sons of Garmadon. There they would form a new group called the Red Crows. After Garmadon left the monastery, he finds a village called Two Moon Village. That said village is attacked by the Red Crows. Wanting to redeem himself, Garmadon defends this village and defeats a foe he previously fought many years ago. The other members of the Red Crows would be rearrested and plopped back into Cryptarium. 6 months pass, and Clutch Powers discovers a pyramid.
I love that. A couple weeks ago, he was a terrorist, but he's okay. He's okay. Yeah, I forgive him. He might have killed my home, and he might have destroyed my home and killed a bunch of... He's okay, though. He's all right. He made up for it.
So, Clutch Powers, mentioned him briefly already, he has his own movie predating Ninjago. Apparently that isn't canon to Ninjago, I don't know how that makes sense, but all you really need to know is Clutch Powers is an explorer. In search of a new enemy, or quest, the ninja help Clutch explore the pyramid. This is the very pyramid Wu's old foe, Esphira, was entombed in. They accidentally unlock her, and being that she is a sorceress, she steals Kai's power. And with this power, she creates an entire army of Pyro Vipers. Esphira heads to Ninjago.
So, yeah, we got one person saying clutch without the T. We got one person calling it cloth.
To unleash hell. In this season, they decide to load it with filler, so we get an entire episode dedicated to Lil Nelson, that stupid little purple ninja kid. He is given a paper route and has to dodge the incoming Pyro Vipers. He gets word that the ninja are trapped in the pyramid, so he goes to the monastery to warn Wu. Again, I wouldn't mention this, but if I had to sit through this stupid filler, you have to hear about it. Sphera gets a hold of one of the scrolls of forbidden spinjitsu and becomes just a tad too powerful. The ninja get the second scroll from the Explorers Club.
Let's back it up for a second. Did they actually make a child work in an active, like, battle zone? Hey, man, I know there's, like snakes and shit shooting fire at there, but you got papers though, bud.
A club Clutch was formerly a part of, and they return to the monastery to fight the Pyro Vipers. Each side has a scroll. Esphira shoots a powerful blast aimed for Wu, but Zane takes the hit instead and is sent to the Never
No, I
Realm.
don't.
This is the part where Vex finds him and stuff. Again, it's confusing. They defeat Esphira and she is jailed, but the ninja are not satisfied. They head to the Never Realm to rescue Zane. In the Never Realm, the
My
ninja find a
chair
village
is
where
not
they
your
take up
clawing
camp. Lloyd
station,
journeys alone and comes
fuckboy.
across a wolf friend. He calls her Red, but she is actually Akita, one of the last remaining formlings. Back in Ninjago, there are a few filler episodes. The word gets out that the ninja have disappeared, so the mechanic, Ultraviolet, and Fugidove, a non-criminal, escape Cryptarium. All they do is retell stories about the ninja, and the icing on the cake is this disgusting 2D animation. What am I watching? Because it definitely isn't Ninjago. This episode is fittingly called The Absolute Worst. The second of the filler episodes has Wu and Pixel trying to open a portal to the Never Realm. They fail, but they succeed in opening portals to the other realms, one of them being the Wildness, where Chima is, and the
Okay.
Beaver tribe comes through. Another realm they open a portal to is the Departed Realm, where the Preeminent ended up. However, now she is much less menacing than last time, and it sort of just degrades the severity of the ghost invasion. This just makes no sense. It completely ravages Ninjago, but don't worry, Pixel fixes everything very quickly. Akita reveals herself to Lloyd, and says her true intentions are to find her brother, Kataru, who has been captured by the Ice Emperor. The Ice Emperor's dragon, Boreal, captures Lloyd and imprisons him with Kataru. The original Emperor
Wait,
was
isn't
forced
Zane
to be
the
a
Ice
samurai,
Emperor?
but he helps Lloyd and Kataru. Zane hears the word protect, and his memory is completely restored. That simple. I have a hard time believing that Vex didn't just say that like one time talking about defenses or anything, but okay, whatever. They return to Ninjago with a berry, and Akita and Kataru go back to living in their newly thawed formling village. Grimfax gets his throne back, and Vex is exiled. The mechanic escapes Cryptarium once again, and the integrity of this prison is absolutely horrendous. He is working on stealing a hard drive. Said hard drive belongs to the original Prime Empire game, the game that was unfinished by Milton Dyer. The ninjas stop him and get the hard drive. They investigate the mechanic's hideout, an old arcade. Jay,
Don't say
being
it.
an avid fan of video games, knew of the legend of Prime Empire. He finds the arcade machine and plugs in the hard drive. The machine opens up and Jay walks in. This creates a ripple effect throughout
Don't say it. Don't say it.
all of Ninjago that all arcade machines become Prime Empire. When the player reaches level 13, the
Oh my
machine will
God,
open
come
up and
on.
they have the
All right. Hold on. Get the fuck out of here.
option to enter the game. The ninja eventually find out that Jay entered the game, and they enter the game to find him. There's many rules to this game, but the most basic is they get 4 lives each. Once they die, they become a cube. Unagami, The AI of the game has sort of gained sentience, and now the ninja are inside trying to stop him. The ninja also meet multiple NPCs in the game, like Okino and Racer 7. The ninja tell both of them that their world isn't real and they live in a simulation. Good job, ninja. Great way to spread existential dread. The way to win the game is by...
Dude, every time someone brings up Sword Art Online, I just want to rage about it because it's so bad. Like the first like 6, like I think whatever the first episodes that they were in the actual game itself before they left was so good. Like it wasn't even like that wasn't even the full season 1. Like why I don't know, man. Like they promote the whole promotion material behind that show was, hey, these kids are stuck in a video game and they can't get out. But it was only like a half a season when they did that. Shut up. Hi fuming.
You guessed it.
I'm sorry, hi fusing.
Collecting 3 of something. Katanas. Unagami is using the death cubes to build a giant portal to escape into the real world. Challenge after challenge and loss after loss, Jay ends up the...
Yeah, that was my big, like... What was it? You had 100 floors? You could have taken each season to go through each floor. Or go through, like, different sections of the floors. I don't know, man. I think it was bad. You gonna piss off the weebs? Fuck the weebs.
Last ninja. Zane and Pixel, who never entered the game, finally find Dyer after his decades-long hiatus. Zane and Wu are captured, and the mechanic is helping to open the portal on the Ninjago side. Unagami reveals his goal, that being to talk to Dyer and ask him why he never finished the game. So they bring Dyer to Unagami, and they talk it out. They chalk this season up to one big misunderstanding. Unagami...
No, I stopped watching Sword Art Online after the first season. I don't even know what the fuck a Gun Gale Online is, but I feel like I've seen clips of it.
Turns into a little boy, so, that is just wild, and makes no sense to me. Okino, Racer 7, and the others from the game are allowed to stay in Ninjago. Ending the season with no consequences, the ninja don't learn anything anymore, and it's all just hunky-dory. Harumi heads to the kingdom of Shintaro, led by King Vangelis, or secretly the Skull Sorcerer. There they discuss a deal for Vengestone that his Gekko and Month's slaves are mining.
When am I gonna build Legos on stream? When I open up the Fansly. So never.
This very moment, the ninja arrive after they were invited to King Vangelis' daughter's birthday. Everyone gets acquainted and they meet Princess Vanya. The ninja quickly learn something is up and explore the dungeons where they find the Gekko and Months enslaved by dark skeletons controlled by...
Those look like vampires.
The Skull Sorcerer. Down in the dungeons, Nia becomes Queen of the Months and Kai becomes the Chancellor of the Geckos. Together, the two of them
Months and Gekko.
unite the feuding tribes. Cole, Wu, and Vanya uncover the truth about King Vangelis, and he sends them plummeting to their death. He even told his daughter, like, hey, don't care for you much anymore. Bye-bye. They spend an entire episode falling, but eventually find the Lowly, the 3 men who originally brought the skull of Hazadur to Vangelis. Cole, Wu, Vanya, and the Lowly find the heart of the mountain, and Cole learns of the spinjitsu burst. Despite uniting the tribes, they lost. Kai and Nia try to bargain with the sorcerer. If the tribes get to go free, the ninja will give themselves up. They make the deal, and the ninja surrender, but no duh. He does the villain thing and takes back his word. This is the umpteenth time this has happened, but the second time this has happened to Kai and Nia specifically. They should have learned from the Time Twins. Oh yeah, I forgot, the characters aren't supposed to have character development anymore. Cole connects with his element and learns the spinjitsu burst, destroying the skull of Hazadur, making everything kumbaya. Vangelis is imprisoned and Vanya becomes queen. Okay, taking a shift in tone. Back to the Merlopians. The Merlopians are ruled by this guy named King Trimar. He has a son, Kalmar, and he ain't great. He wants to cause as much chaos as possible. He has an adopted
Dude,
brother.
what's up with people having kids in this universe that just want to kill everyone? What the fuck?
Benthomar, that he hates. Kalmar finds Wojira and partially awakens her with the Wave Amulet. Now his quest begins for the Storm Amulet. Where would that be? The Island of Keepers, just the place where Wu, Misako, and Clutch have been captured. The ninja are forced to save their master and friends,
That's a hot
so they
squid.
arrive at the temple. Jay is captured and about to be used as a sacrifice to Wojira.
Mods, take her
the
balls.
Keepers and ninja talk it out and deem this as one big kerfuffle. They assume Wojira has not awoken, and they become allies. Well, I have some news for them. Wojira is in fact partially awake. The least threatening thing Ninjago has to offer, a new villain named Misdemeanor, schedules a Vengestone deal with Harumi. Before the deal can be made, the ninja intervene and stop the deal from even starting. They still don't know
Epic, what if I told you that I'm classified as a DILF?
about Harumi, though. Zane and Pixel detect an unexplained energy source coming from the Tartarus Trench. King Trimar is very understanding when the humans enter their domain. Kalmar makes everything worse and throws a coup, killing his father and tricking all of Merlopia that the ninja did it.
Yeah, I guess.
Alright. Patricide. Benthomar takes his dying father aside and learns the truth of the coup. Benthomar assists the ninja in their escape. The elitist Kalmar becomes king and could care less about his people. The ninja raced the Merlopians to the Island of Keepers, but the amulet was already stolen and replaced with a fake by Clutch Powers. The ninjas send a message to the monastery to go get the real one. The group of ninja in Ninjago fight the Merlopians at the Explorers Club. We get our second installment in the Paperboy saga. Only now we focus on the Paper Girl. Give me one Paperboy episode, shame on you. Give me 2 Paperboy episodes, still shame on you, that's stupid. Kalmar gets the real Storm Amulet. With the second amulet, Kalmar awakens Wojira and floods Ninjago City, unleashing the second giant serpent in Ninjago City in a short period of time. Nia does what Naiad, the first elemental master of water, did, and becomes one with the ocean, and kills Kalmar and Wojira with the utmost
I just don't get why they didn't kill it the first time. You know, this shit would have been prevented if they just killed the fucking thing like forever ago.
and this makes Benthomar the new king. Before she leaves, she unfloods. I don't know if this is considered draining, so I'm calling it unflooding. She unfloods the city and then says goodbye to Jay and flies off to the ocean. She dies.
They were too
I mean,
tired
not
to kill it.
technically, but technically because it can't be undone, so whatever you want to call it, which is the second time in this show she has died. But this time, it's for good. Well, for good for an entire episode, that is. It has been 1 full year. She's having a blast. She roams the ocean all day with her pal Naiad, and Nia has forgotten she is Nia. She has an epiphany and realizes who she is and begins looking for Jay. The only way for her to become Nia again is by giving up her powers. In the
Shit, I bet you were like, they knocked off the seals and they kind of just went to sleep. They're like, oh, damn. That's all it took?
monastery, Nia materializes and asks for their help before she fully forgets herself. She tells them what must be done. The only person they recently encountered that can steal powers is currently locked up in Cryptarium. Everyone's favorite and totally not forgettable Serpentine, Asphira. They break her out
Who?
and steal her staff. Asphira drains Nia's power, but not in time for the authorities to show up. They stave them off long enough for her powers to drain and let Asphira escape, but then the ninja are arrested. When she arrives back at her pyramid, Asphira is approached by a crystal spider, projecting a hologram of a person in a kabuki mask.
No. Okay.
Inviting her to join the Council of the Crystal King to exact revenge on those who wronged her. She happily accepts. She isn't the only one who gets an invite. The Skull Sorcerer and Pythor, who is locked away in Cryptarium just a few cells over from the ninja. Both of them hastily accept the invite. Nia and Dareth, who is sort of like Saul Goodman now, help the ninja escape. The ninja predict the next invite will be
Okay.
to the mechanic, so they go there, rough him up, and Lloyd disguises as the mechanic so he can intercept the invite. Lloyd accepts the invite and meets the Council of the Crystal King, consisting of Asphira, the Skull Sorcerer, Pythor, Mr. F, which is the new and improved Mr. E, and the Kabuki Mask, who reveals herself to be Harumi. Lloyd is figured out and captured. There is a scene that I think is hilarious. Harumi complains once again, reiterating her sob story about how the Great Devourer killed her parents, blah blah blah, and she wants to punish Lloyd for what happened. Honey, I regret to inform
I don't... I can't tell if that's just lazy writing. Oh my god, because Jesus, okay. Alright. I'm getting invested now, I hate it.
Inform you that you are currently on a council with the dude that summoned it in the...
That's what I'm saying. It feels like lazy writing because... She's teaming up with people that basically killed her parents.
the first place. So, anyway, they use the golden weapons to make the Crystal King corporeal, which is just simply the Overlord. Surprise, the Overlord is back. Third time's the charm, right? The Overlord then makes what was the Oni Temple a giant floating sky island. It floats to Ninjago City and unleashes the army of Crystal Vengestone warriors. Wu was suddenly getting newspaper clippings vaguely warning him of this potential attack. So he heads to the source and finds none other than his very own Oni brother, Lord Garmadon. The Crystal Warriors slash through Garmadon's apartment.
Did you bring enough for the whole class, guys? I see a pizza right there.
And thus Garmadon unleashes his Oni side and begins raging and destroying the Crystal Warriors. Wu realizes the warriors are weak to the Oni, and that Lloyd must tap into his Oni side. Garmadon becomes a master once again, but instead of teaching pacifism this time, he is instructing the exact opposite. They stop the training early when Wu comes to the realization that since every...
So, Lord Garmadon was freeloading off a news reporter after everything that happened. Man, that guy really is fucking evil, huh? What a piece of shit.
Everything is equal in Ninjago. If there is an Oni form, there must be a dragon form. The Overlord completely crystallizes all of Ninjago, destroying the bounty in the process.
God, I wish someone would feel that way about me, because I need some fixing. Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
Sako returns with the last prophecy of Quanish the Elder, where he said acolytes of the first Spinjitsu master in the final battle would face a hard decision. Everyone ever ushers in to fight alongside the ninja. Kai ponders the illustrations on Quanish's prophecy. He says it looks like if you jump up, kick back, whip around, and spin, you will be able to perform it. Those...
Then where's my fixing bells?
also are the lyrics to the theme song. They devise a relatively simple plan. Everyone versus the warriors, except Lloyd and Garmadon, who will fight the Overlord and Harumi. They have their little Avengers Assemble moment, and thus the ninja are able to attempt and succeed at dragon form. While the Garmadons fight the Overlord, he reveals that he only corrupted the Great Devourer so that Garmadon would become a worthy vessel to possess, which I guess he turned out wrong. This changes Harumi's perspective, and she switches sides. In this fight, the
Again! Why? I hate this character. I hate that they write her so poorly.
Overlord becomes a weird centaur thing, so another interesting choice. You can be anything, and you pick that. Garmadon pretends to be severely hurt, and...
This is the second time now she has grabbed a team of evil people, and fucking... halfway through, she's like, oh, damn, that's not good.
Almost die, so that Lloyd finally connects with his Oni side, becoming a golden Oni.
Fool me once!
Cool and
shame
all,
on you.
He doesn't do anything. The ninja get hold of the golden weapons and restore them. They unite the 4 weapons, so it will destroy the weapons, letting the elemental energy connected to them release. In doing this, the 4 ninja lose their power, despite multiple teachings that the power comes from within them, but whatever, it's the final battle, all rules are thrown out. The 4 elements create a 4-headed dragon that aids Lloyd in his last stand. Using the 4-headed dragon and its powers within, Lloyd destroys the Overlord, subsequently blowing up the Crystal Island, and then everything crystal is destroyed, and anyone that was crystallized is restored. Once again, no surprises, everything goes back to normal. Garmadon
And let me guess, we're gonna let all the dude, this is Batman, I swear to God. We're gonna let all the evil people go back to jail. Listen, I'm not a story writer, but if I wanted to make my story interesting, I would just kill these motherfuckers.
and every single ally ever helped the ninja rebuild their monastery. And that's the end of Ninjago. Well, it was. Reboots are always a thing. Wu has been studying the coalescence, the thing his father prevented with dragon cores. Somehow, Wu initiated the coalescence and accidentally merged all of the realms into one giant one. It is still not revealed how he did that. This messed up the fabric of reality. Stuff was combined where it shouldn't have been. People ended up scattered everywhere. The ninja did their best to try and help, but it was seriously, like, not even a drop in the bucket. This event became known as the Merge. For some reason, the Merge heightened the level of elemental energy in the universe, creating new elemental masters. All of the ninja were split up. There are things called
Okay, but where's the master of sound? I want my boy back.
merge quakes, rifts in the sky that suck stuff from one land to the next. Lloyd and Kai are able to stop them with their elemental powers. A place called the Crossroads was created. It is the center of the merged realms and where most of the damage was done. Who lives there? Aaron, a ninja fanboy. He lost his parents in the merge and has grown up in the Crossroads. Another girl who lives there is Sora. Originally
I'm sorry.
from the kingdom
If she pulls out a Keyblade at some point, I'm fucking backing out of this video.
of Imperium. Aaron and Sora have been friends for many years since the merge occurred. Since Aaron was such a huge fan of the ninja, he taught himself a very
Kingdom Hearts
primitive and
lore for
incorrect
3
form of spinjitsu.
hours.
Even with as bad as it was, no one has ever taught themselves spinjitsu. Sora is fantastic with technology and builds her own machines. They enter in a mech race, but is interrupted by the claws of Imperium and their pursuit of a baby dragon named Ryu. Aaron and Sora leave the race to help the baby dragon. The claws are led by Rapton, up there in the ranks with Misdemeanor as one of the least fearsome villains. Ryu enables Sora to tap into her elemental power, that being tech, and make it so they don't die. Lord Raz enters the picture and captures the three of them, but are then uncaptured by Lloyd. Lloyd agrees to train Aaron and Sora. Aaron accidentally performs a new form of spinjitsu called object spinjitsu, where the spinjitsu is transferred to an object. The bounty arrives back at the monastery, but without Kai at the helm. They investigate the clues, which points them in the direction of the Kingdom of Madness, which was once the Realm of Madness. It is here where they find both Kai and Nia. They head to the Cloud Kingdom to figure out what's going on. There they find Euphrasia, a young girl who is now the Master of Wind. Imperium has really bad authoritarian leadership. Any dissenters are thrown out, so everyone falls in line. Not just that, but the people are genuinely brainwashed in believing Empress Beatrix is the end-all be-all. The ninja and their trainees break into Imperium. Lloyd accidentally unlocks a prisoner named Wildfire. She is the elemental master of heat. Her power is basically
Was it because someone else was already the master of fire? So you had to come up with the master of heat? Oh my god. Oh my
fire.
god.
Well, how does that work? Kai is already fire. Correct. But Kai's fire is hotter. A yellow
What? What? What?
orb thing guides Kai to a door underneath the monastery. That same orb guides Nia, who is still in the Cloud Kingdom studying, to a door there. The siblings end up in the same place. The orb, who is supposedly Master Wu, brings them to a machine. They activate it, and inside is Zane. Lloyd and Zane find the Source Dragon Raz captured. They want to free it, but the Source Dragon tells them not to, as it will destabilize the realm again. The Source Dragon transfers some of his power to Lloyd, and he becomes a conduit. With his new power, he assists in the escape of everyone, including the dragons, back to their monastery. The Empress begins her descent into madness, switching her goals from dragons to ninja. Nia's research leads them to the Temple of the Dragon Core. Since only a descendant of the first Spinjitzu master can ask for the location of the cores, Lloyd asks, and is given the info. The ninja split up and search for the Dragon Cores. On Nia's journey, she finds Ericor, the last remaining Jin. I mean, technically Nadakon is still alive in the teapot, so this guy isn't the last Jin, but I guess we'll let him have it. Lloyd and Aaron encounter mucoids, snail people, and I can't lie, I really like these guys. Their leader
Holy
is
shit,
Zane.
these guys look
He is the
awesome.
elemental master of plants. Nia and Sora found Cole, who lives in the land of lost things. One of the people he is with is Geo, a Gekkel-Muntz hybrid, who is the elemental master of fusion, able to create a physical bond between objects, and he is the only one that can break it. Another one of his friends is Bonzel, the sentient spell from long ago. The ninja meet back up and infiltrate Imperium.
I'm sorry. Are we go? We have to go back like 50-something fucking minutes and talk about the spell that went sentient. Because you can't just throw a curveball at me fucking 5 minutes before the video's done, dude. That she's alive?
ダックスサチマグニフィサントクリーチャーズ
Oh my god.
After failing to get most of the cores. With impatience growing and only 2 dragon cores, the Empress needs a third. She wants to make the third one from their imprisoned Source Dragon. Dr. LaRoe warns that one from the Energy Source Dragon could result in the complete explosion of Imperium. So what does Beatrix do? Gets Dr. LaRoe's second-in-command, Jordana, to do it. She creates the third dragon core, and their Merge Quake weapon is complete. It shoots out Merge Quakes. Beatrix utilizes the Merge Quake weapon and shoots it into the sky, creating a rift. And then she creates another one, and then another one, and then another, and another, and another, and another. She stretches reality. Sora uses her tech element on the Empress, and thus Beatrix is sucked into a rift. With all of the damage done, a super rift opens in the sky and puts the entire crossroads at risk. They get the 3 cores, and Lloyd, being a conduit, does his thing, whatever you'd like to call it, and closes all of the rifts, and mostly everything is back to normal, and everything that was sucked in is sucked out. Using the cores, Lloyd frees the Source Dragon. Jordana still lurks in the streets, and Raz finds her and recruits her. A year has passed, and Raz and Jordana head for the ancient Shadow Dojo. He mentions his home.
Oh my god,
containing the
yeah, wait, wasn't she the one that got her... Dude, she's the one that did political assassination early on!
Rock. And the 6 Chima fans in the audience go wild. Raz also has the Master of Smoke working for him. Ash used to be the Master of Smoke, so I guess now it's Cinder, which implies something happened to Ash. Raz unleashes his wolf army, and Cinder begins performing Shatterspin. Under a blood moon in special circumstances, Raz will be able to resurrect the Forbidden Five. Not knowing what to do, Lloyd calls out to the Source Dragons for help. They go against their rules of meddling in mortal affairs, but since he is the conduit, they make an exception. They nudge Lloyd in the right direction, and point him towards Egalt and Rontu, the 2 dragon masters. The ninja head there and begin learning the Rising Dragon technique. Kai and Nia practice Rising Dragon, and finally are able to achieve it by going through the motions of the childhood game of
3 more
Counter-Strike.
minutes.
Not
We're
all
almost
of the ninja
done.
learn this technique, but some of them do, and just in time too, because
Listen, Jacob didn't die on screen. He's alive. You get those filthy thoughts out of your fucking head right now.
Blood Moon has risen, turning Egalt and Rontu to stone. They're fine though, they're not dead. Raz gets a hold of Bonzel and begins the ritual. They are only able to free the leader, Noct, and then the ninja intervene. The Soul of Rocks, the second in command, escapes and possesses Jordana. Raz is getting bullied, so he calls out to his boss, and Raz and all of his men are teleported away. My guess is it's the Overlord, because Ninjago has a tendency to bring him back.
Yeah,
A
and
new
I hope
tournament of
Greg never
sorcerers
shows
is
us
about to
fucking
begin,
fit.
and the ninja realize they weren't
Fat
invited.
face
Raz is working with
anymore.
Blekt, the second in command of the event, and through this, they rig every game, which included not even inviting the ninja. In this tournament, there are tons of new elements, one of which is Quake, and the master of it is Aaron's childhood friend, Frack. Again, this is sort of like
I thought I was
Fire
gonna
and
throw
Heat.
up. I'm gonna
Earth
be real. I feel like I need to throw up, but I'll be okay.
already exists, so Quake is just specifically Earthquakes.
I had some wings
very
before
similar to
stream, and I
Chen's
feel like
game.
they're
The
shooting
loser
on my
gives their
booty holes,
powers
feeling
away.
it, bro.
But
I'll
the
tell you
winner of
that.
the singular match gets their power to compete with next time. Raz develops a special bond with Aaron, trying to turn him against the ninja, with the promise of finding his parents. They get to the final game, where it's Noct versus Sora, and since the scales are tipped, Noct wins.
Okay,
Noct
alright.
grabs the trophy
Do some
anyway, and
jumping
gets all of
jacks.
the powers transferred to him. Noct and
1,
Rox both backstab Raz. When Noct makes it
2,
to the temple, he uses his powers to open the portal, letting the
3,
rest of the Forbidden Five escape. The ninja and Raz fight together.
4,
Roby, the master of the game, deprives Noct of all stolen
5,
elemental power using the trophy
6,
and disperses it back
7,
correctly. The 5 escape
8,
through a portal, taking unconscious
9,
Raz with them, and
10.
Aaron follows his newfound friend despite Lloyd telling him not to. The portal explodes behind them, not letting the ninja follow. Lloyd may have just gotten himself his own Moro. Sora is declared the proper winner, but for once, it isn't all kumbaya for the ninja. They just let the most dangerous team of villains escape their spell prison, and are now going to wreak havoc on the merged realms. The motion source dragon comes down to thank Lloyd and gives him a dragon icon. And that is it. Until Dragon's Rising Season 3 comes out in like a month and a half. So there's...
Are you telling me the lore isn't done? Dude, this came out a month ago. Come on, man. I don't want to learn... Shut up! I don't want to learn more about... I don't want to learn more about fucking Ninjago, man.
definitely some stuff I didn't touch on, like the Green Ninja appearing in the Lego movie, or Ninjago existing in Lego Dimensions. All of these are great points to bring up for a different time, because I have to learn how the Lego multiverse...
Bro, I don't know how that button gets hit every time. It's this button, but I hit over here. The button's over here. I don't get it.
works, and that's gonna be a different video. Stay tuned for that. This show was a significant part of my childhood.
Hey, what's up, Spadoinkle? How you doing, man? It's good to see you, dude. Hope you're having a good night.
And now looking back on it around a decade later, it still holds up decently.
You're telling, dude, I have learned so much about Ninjago in 2 hours. I feel like I'm fucking brain. I have to upload this to YouTube. This has to be a YouTube video.
Well, moderately. Oh no. Oh my god.
This was unironically really fun. Was it because of the video, or was it because of... Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. Mods, can we crush Epic's nutsack? Thanks.
God. I forgot to mention the long backstory with the mailman. Oh well.
I don't want to know about the fuck. Okay. Thank God. Thank God. All right, here's the video. If anybody wants to share it around. The mailman was one of the best reoccurring characters. What, did he just show up, give them mail, and fuck off? Didn't matter the situation they were in. Someone could be dead on the floor. He's like, ooh, that's rough. Here, oh, there's this guy mail. Dude, hold on, wait.